crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
There we go. Crossovers powered by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com.
That's on me, gang.
Hello.
Good Friday morning.
How we doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm ready.
Let's all go around the room and tell everyone how we're doing.
Yeah. What are your highs
Matt?
and lows?
I'm fine. I'm fine. A little tired.
Okay.
What's your high? What was your high of the show today?
Gary naming the top 10 Heisman Trophy winners from 1998
Whoa.
was
That was your high.
that was a funny moment for me
Okay.
to just go through.
It's
Oh,
funny.
do you want what was my that was just
Peaks and
funny. It
valleys.
was just that was just a great segment.
What was your low?
Walking in and realizing we didn't have any guests on the show today.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Oh,
It
that-
means you really get to spread out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your takes out there.
Yeah.
Got lots of takes out there.
What was my best take? I had some good takes today. I was slinging it today. I had one of my better shows.
Okay.
I was putting it out there. Cause like
I was putting it out there.
Cause like yesterday, I walked out the studio and I go, that was a Gary show. Like that was a lot of Gary. Like I was like, I got to dial in a little bit, and I gotta mark my territory. you know?
Wow.
I gotta lay it down. So
Okay.
I like, you know how like Coach Mack is like, I'm looking for guys to hook it up.
Uh-huh.
Like I low key was
Mhm.
hooking it up today. Like
All
I
right.
had some some
Okay.
takes.
Well, it's got to be consistent. You know, you got to bring it. You got
Yeah.
to bring it every day.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, it's just like I think yesterday was just like an off day. Like sometimes you step onto the court and you don't have the midi, you know, or unless you're Josh Dix, like you never have the midi. But like, you know,
Whoa.
Wow.
for me in particular,
all out on
Actually,
Josh
that's
Dix.
like the only thing he has.
I don't think it's that good. When he takes it, it looks pretty, right? It looks pretty when he takes it. He just doesn't hit it all the time. And you want to go back and look at his mid-range. I'm telling you right now, I've watched all the mid-range shots. He's probably like 4 for 13
From two,
from two. Well, like mid-range 15 to 18 feet.
Josh Dix from two this year is 21 of 38.
But that
55%.
includes
layups, which
And
he doesn't get a lot of.
He had a dunk.
He had a dunk maybe once.
Yeah, mid-range now.
Cut it in half, you know.
So, yeah, I had a good show today.
Awesome.
And then today is actually look, it's only going to get higher because Knives Out comes out today, and I'm a massive Knives Out.
Why is
Oh,
that-
there's another Knives Out movie.
Why is that
Yes.
thing 2.5 hours long?
It's 2 hours and 20
Stop
minutes.
making 2.5 hour long movies.
It's 2 hours.
Great
It's
take.
2 hours and 20 minutes. I want to see it in theaters, but I won't be able to do it until Tuesday. But I don't want to wait around. It's at the Alamo something.
Draft House.
Yeah, it's over there, but it's at 3:15, and that wouldn't work with my schedule today. And I don't want to wait till Tuesday to see it.
So what are you gonna do?
I'm just going to watch it on Netflix. It's out on Netflix today.
Oh,
So it comes out on Netflix, but you can see it in theaters if you'd like.
gotcha.
It's in select theaters. So I would like to see it in theaters, but it just does not work at all for my schedule this week.
Okay. Well,
So I just have to watch it at home.
get a big old bucket of popcorn on,
I might do that.
and then bring it
I
to the
might
Mavs
do
game on Tuesday. Refill it.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, I won't. Well, maybe I will. Who knows? They play York.
I want to go. I think I want to go. I missed
Yeah.
I missed last year's extravaganza, and I'm thinking
I'll
about.
hook you up.
I have I have
Good
a,
to see Gary's hooking somebody up with tickets.
I have a wagon. You know, I have a wagon. Could I bring a wagon
Wagonia?
and
Oh,
fill
yeah.
up the wagon
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
with popcorn?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll bring a wagon.
I met
somebody-
I met all the guys from the Sickos committee last year because they
Whoa.
came to Omaha for that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any update on whether they'll be back?
They quote tweeted it yesterday.
Okay.
I don't know.
Wasn't that the game where what's his name? Truth Magnum spilled his nachos?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In front of Mike Schaefer.
Yes.
We had a source on that one.
That was that still was very interesting is when they introduced themselves to the staff, they went by their real name, but then immediately when players are around, they went right back into character.
They got to
It
get
was
into
quite
gimmick,
amazing.
man. They got to get to gimmick. They got to work them.
Have the Mavs figured out their bit this year? What
Got no bit.
Okay.
Well,
No
hopefully the bit is winning games.
no bit,
Yeah.
just basketball.
That
That should be their catchphrase. No bit, just basketball.
Actually,
is
yeah.
getting everybody healthy.
Yeah, that would help.
Yes.
I thought you were about to ask, have like the Outrunners done anything significant in AEW since then?
That I don't care about.
Didn't they win?
They had a title shot. You know, I don't think they.
I
did a
knew.
whole lot
I
with
I
it.
did not know who they were.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
And I was watching the product at the time, and I had no idea who they were.
They cut a heck of a promo that Omaha cannot use.
Yeah. They're good promo
because they
cutters.
offended a state north of here. And
What?
many other things. Oh, yeah.
Well, come on.
Who
It's
cares about
okay.
that?
Yeah, who cares about South Dakota?
Offend them.
Yeah.
South Dakota stinks.
And then maybe, would get an invite to a different conference. They would go to that conference.
That would be.
Do you
a
like
great-
sad hotel rooms full of people who drill for oil? Come to South Dakota.
Jeez. That'd be a great way to get Omaha to the MOVO. And like, can you imagine that the University of Nebraska,
The
Omaha
MOVO.
You
Mavericks
guys might be focusing
Mavericks
on the wrong conference,
used
by the way.
the Outrunners and AEW to get
Mountain
to the
West?
Missouri Valley? That's about
Pac-12.
You're headed to the right side of the state.
The Ohio Valley.
no.
The American.
Mac.
No.
The A10.
American.
Horizon doesn't look bad, right?
Okay, the Horizon League. Former home of Butler. Who's
Yeah.
in the Horizon League now?
Great
I have
question.
no clue.
That's a good question. I think Valparaiso.
Name me a
Valparaiso might
team.
be in the Missouri Valley.
Yeah, they're in the Missouri Valley. Can you name me one team that's in the
No shot.
in the Horizon League?
shot.
Illinois, Chicago,
Okay.
No
and
shot.
I think Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Nope. Illinois, Chicago's in the Missouri Valley.
Are they really?
Yep. Say,
Doug Gottlieb.
oh, Green Bay.
Okay, Wisconsin, Green Bay.
Green Bay.
But there's got to be like some sort
Okay,
of
Horizon League. Here we go. We got Youngstown State. We got Detroit Mercy. We got Oakland. We got Wisconsin, Milwaukee. We got Wright State, Robert Morris, Northern Kentucky,
Yeah, you don't want to be in that conference.
IPFW, Green Bay, Cleveland State,
No
and
way.
IU Indy.
That
Okay,
grifter would come here and do his
so-
radio show once a year.
Hey, so
Yeah, what if we had Doug Gottlieb on for 4 hours?
I don't know if I'd
Doug
rather
and
be in
Gary
that
and
conference.
Doug.
so that has been like presented by the Horizon of you come to our league and you'll be like the second or third
Market.
program. You go to the Missouri Valley and you're probably like the seventh. I would prefer if they made a move to the Missouri Valley.
Yeah,
But-
I'd rather be
right?
in the Valley.
But the Horizon, like people that cover the Horizon are like, I think they're interested in Omaha.
I think you'd rather be in the Valley. You want to be in the Valley.
So you can go play Des Moines and Drake.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's some name value still around here from
Oh,
when
yeah.
Creighton was in it.
I think it comes down to the budgets.
The budgets.
Like, do you have
Oh,
a budget?
They gotta
Because
get
the Missouri
budgets.
Valley Conference is definitely a basketball conference.
IU Indy has the #1 adjusted tempo in the country. They go very, very fast.
Whoa.
They go very, very fast.
Playing a nice arena. They used to be in the Summit League. Them in Fort Wayne.
Whoa.
That was a fun trip.
IU Indy coached by Ben Howlett. Ben Howlett. Do we know who Ben Howlett is? I don't.
No relation to Ben Howland, who
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I was like, that's not Ben Howland, is it? No, different guy. Different guy. #1 in adjusted tempo, number 361 in adjusted defense. That's not
those
good.
are fun games.
Whoa.
That's not very good.
Must be today that we've kicked into full gear of the spouse commercials for cars, the holiday commercial.
Oh yeah, with the
Where-
bows and the
where
things.
they each buy each other a car. Now, I don't know in your household, Josh.
We'll sure on more.
Jeez.
Okay.
Couldn't help yourself, could you?
All right.
Could not help it.
I bought you a DoorDash
Yeah,
vehicle. huh?
yeah.
Do you think when you're making
got
a
your dash
purchase of
pass.
180,000 or more, you consult with each other, or do you just go ahead and make it?
I
in a
think you
house?
just go for it at that point.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you make a holiday commercial.
Yeah.
That's what my
Only
dad did.
mid-range purchases am I consulting my wife on.
My dad actually 2 different times showed up with a different car at the garage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't your mom didn't know?
No clue.
Did she care?
She was pissed the first time. And then the second time he pulled up and he was like, let me explain. Like, he actually got a great deal on it. He got like a newer car, nicer car that we were already like, we were a year away from paying off, but they're like, you're making the same payments, fixed cost. You can do it 4 more years to get a nicer car. And now I drive that very car.
Mm.
So
Did you when you got, because you of all of us, I think you have the newer car.
Yeah.
Was that in conjunction with your wife, or did you just one day on a whim where you were driving by and you're like, that looks really good?
That's the one.
No. Well, I mean, I did the process by myself and all those things. All the great folks at Woodhouse, were awesome. They made it go quick and smooth. And my lease was up, and so I
Okay.
was like, yeah, it's time to get a new one. But we had talked about it for a while.
Do we
I was
wanna-
like, today, I think I'm going to go get a new car, and she's like, all right.
for content,
Then it doesn't actually cost us any more money at all. So
I'm buying my first car this year. do we want to do 1620 the purchase where everybody acts like a dad for me and goes ahead and tries to negotiate down a price?
I don't know. I would tell you could do whatever you want.
Thank you, Connor.
do
That's
it.
all you've ever told me.
Do whatever you want.
Gary wants to come with me so he can negotiate that.
Is it going to be a trade-in situation?
So yeah, we got to figure it out. I got to figure that out. I think so.
That will help.
I technically
it
don't. I technically don't own the title of my car.
Okay,
You're gonna
that
want
might
that.
be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to negotiate that with the rents, and then we'll see where we go from there.
You got to buy the car, and then you got to sell the car, and then you got to buy the new car.
Here's $1.
Yes.
Give me that title.
Well, yeah, something like that is going to happen. I don't think it will be $1. I think I will have to give more than $1.
Mhm.
But I will get the title, and then because it'll just be way better for me to get the title.
There you go. You'll come out ahead.
But the problem is I keep getting sideswiped, and people don't leave their insurance information, and I can't get it fixed.
Husker,
and so
Husker
the
FA
value.
writes in, first car purchase, whose car have you been sideswiping people
I
with?
I sideswiped one person, but my car keeps getting sideswiped, and I see the dollar signs leaving it. Now I can only get a 2023 Camry and not a 2026.
Yeah, he wants a Camry.
Oh, Camry's a good car. My first
Oh.
car was a Camry.
Exactly.
I wrecked it.
All right. Well, that's what you do with your first car.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you're going to wreck this? You're going to wreck it.
I'm gonna wreck it.
I'm gonna wreck it.
So
I'm
get
gonna
some-
wreck it
Get some a little bit older, and then you can wreck
Also,
Why
it.
are you going from an SUV to a
Yeah.
regular car?
because it's cheaper and I want miles.
These Midwestern winters will kill you.
I
They
just
will.
want efficient mile of fuel. I want
Yeah,
fuel
but you got to get
efficiency.
some with all-wheel drive.
See, this is things I don't think of.
Because you got to get to work at 4, 5, 6 in the morning.
You're
I
living
do.
downtown. You got some hills to deal with.
I do. I have that.
You don't wanna
I have
go-
that BS flashing light that nobody slows down for when they're going down the hill.
You don't want to be struggling with those hills with your Camry. Have some nice good
Gary's
Samaritan of
the
Omaha
second.
pushing you.
Gary's the second person to bring up the fact that I've only driven in big cars and that I shouldn't go to a small car now.
I think once you are in an SUV, it's tough not to be.
Not to be in a
Yes.
It's hard to go back.
But I just want I want fuel efficiency, man. I want to stop paying for premium
You
gas.
can find the middle
and like
of the
filling
road
up
there.
my tank like
you can find
every
an
2
SUV
weeks.
that doesn't have to have premium gas.
That's a good point.
You can find the middle of the road there. There are fuel efficient mid-size SUVs,
but are
compact
they,
SUVs.
but are they more expensive than my Toyota Camry?
Absolutely.
Best gas
really?
mileage.
Yeah, I know exactly. If they're more
SUVs.
expensive, then I don't want it.
Just get a, you know what?
This is an investment, and it's fake money, right?
Yeah.
Like it
Once
says
you
it
drive
costs.
up- once
It
you
is
drive
not
up-
fake money.
It is.
real
It
money.
says it costs $35,000, but you only pay like $500. You know, it's fine.
That's not true
And then,
at all.
And then
This is the worst financial advice I've ever been given.
Oh,
No,
well.
I'm going to end up
Sometimes you
paying-
like it, sometimes you don't.
I'm literally going to end up paying more than $35,000.
Definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
you
Over
are.
a long
In
period of
today's-
time.
Yeah,
today's age,
exactly. That's what. So you can't tell me that I only spend $500. I spend more than that.
Right now.
Nissan Rogue.
Do you have
is the
$500 right now?
Currently,
number
no.
one.
All right. Well, that's a problem.
Well,
If
you're going
you,
to probably spend $500 a month.
Yeah.
On a lease.
if you don't have $500, then I don't know if I can help you.
I currently right now my made up money is way more than $500, but the current money in my account is not $500.
Okay.
So it's actually exactly $500.
You might need some help.
Yeah, it was a good idea for a while. Maybe I'll stick with that Camry.
Well, I've been buying a lot of things. You know, I bought.
There you go. You should stop that.
I bought Vegas airfare.
Yep.
I'm about to buy elimination chamber tickets.
Oh, I would say you don't have to do any of those
I'd say,
things.
yeah, at this point, you probably keep your free car.
I've went ahead. I bought a lot of clothes. I probably spent about $500 in the last 2 weeks in clothes.
Dear God.
What? You told me to get into debt. I'm taking your advice.
I said you can't have
did
it all.
tell him that.
You can't have it all. You
you
can't
told
have
him to
all.
get
You
into
can't
debt.
have
me
all
to
the
get into
clothes
debt.
and the
Hey,
biggest
Dave
trips
Ramsey,
in
what
the
are we
car. In the car.
He told me
Keep your free car.
He goes, "This is your time to get into debt. Do it." And I actually had a lot of surplus money, and I go, "You know what? Happer's right." So I went to Jericho's, and I went to Cohen's, and I went to Winners. Now I'm going to Winchester's today. There's nothing anybody can do about it.
Okay.
I am being
Except
frivolous with my money.
for you won't probably have the car that you want.
I will eventually. I got
Told him
things
to go
coming.
into debt.
Yeah.
Many times.
Do you
Yeah.
listen to Dave Ramsey?
Oh,
He hates Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey is his least favorite person.
yeah. Dave Ramsey will tell you to go live in a cave.
He will.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm gonna have to knock you down a peg."
It's
Yeah.
only illegal if they find you.
He has used that line before.
Really?
Yes, he has.
Also, the people would be like,
Sharon Moore did too.
yeah, don't do anything. And then also, once you have $1, like once you have a little bit of money, buy real estate. Like, no, don't do that.
I love it when he's like, and how much do you have saved up? And how much of that is inherited? Oh my God, that's
Why have you
beautiful.
not taken out 2 mortgages and turned those 2 properties into Airbnbs to pay off the mortgage and supplement your income?
Yeah, how dare
Why?
you.
You're an idiot if you're not flipping Airbnbs.
The best part is like he goes, you can own it, buy it. That's what I'd say. I'd say buy it. You got enough money.
And Bigley
Make
writes
it
in,
$12,000 a month.
McSideswipe's next car should be named Carl. Are you the type of person who names your car?
Yeah, Velma. That's the current name of
Everybody.
Velma.
All the children
Jinkies.
have names for cars.
yeah. But that wasn't because of me. That was because my parents, they named it Velma. So
Why did they name it Velma?
because it's red.
I don't know what that means.
Neither do I.
Is
That's
it
what they
Velma
told me.
Orange? Well,
Yeah.
Scooby Doo.
I have
Yeah.
no idea. I think my dad just looked at the car and goes, "That's a Velma."
Okay.
You know. I
Whoa.
don't know. I'll probably name my car something like some old woman's name, like Alberta, or like
Velma did have a red skirt.
or like
red skirt, orange shirt,
sweater. Yeah.
orange
Those
sweater.
don't go together, by the way.
No.
Never really thought about
She
that.
was clashing.
it'd
Yeah.
be like Bertha. Maybe name my car like Margaret.
SEAL Team Nix writes in,
I still think
the results are in. McMaster did not hook it up today.
Whoa.
Additionally, it was another day of bad takes and an inordinate amount of Northwestern talk. Is this true?
That's not true.
Okay.
SEAL Team Nix is a hater.
How much Northwestern talk was there?
Yeah.
We did
Darnell Autry.
Darnell Autry.
Ma sent the pics though.
Yeah, I
Ma did send the pics.
I did not care about
You didn't
that.
look at the pics?
I looked at them, but
I
I
like to
didn't.
tell him what my first reaction was.
Gary freaked out that my
I
mom
did not
was
freak out.
I sent Gary these great pictures. I'll read the text. Gary goes,
These are not great pictures.
"Mom's a rubber." That's crossover.
Powered by Everlevel Concrete.
All right. Hey, I'll be out at Saul's on 84th.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
You guys need anything?
Somebody was
Bring me back a gun.
Yeah, somebody said,
What?
"Will you ask Gary to check out the selection of guns for me
I
when he
will.
gets to Saul?"
So the last time I did one of these remotes was at the Souls on 72nd, like
Mhm.
72nd and Maple.
Yeah.
You know, when you're just sitting there and somebody walks in with like 4 guns and they're like, I need money now. I'm like, all right.
I'm looking for something with a pearl handle.
This guy walked in and you know, I mean, the guys behind the counter, you don't mess with them. Like they're not into the whole wrangling stuff. Guy walks in with 4 guns and he goes, hey, I need money right now. And here's my guns. And he just threw them on the counter. And I was like, oh God.
Was he able to get what he?
They negotiated.
Seems like it's good to get those
So
off the
like the guy
streets.
behind the counter is like, these aren't loaded, right? And the guy's like, no, I left it in my car. I'm like, oh God.
What an
So
odd
the guy behind the
interaction.
counter is like
Gary-
working on the gun.
This will be fun.
And he's like, I'll give you $200 for that. He goes, well, I paid more than that. And the guy behind the counter, I think jokingly goes, doesn't look like you paid anything. But like, they have a lot of security.
We like to have fun here. We're
Like,
razzing.
and then he
It
was
is. Very
after
funny,
the guy
very funny.
left, I was like, how does this work? He goes, we got so much checks and balances with guns. He goes, because we work with the cops. He goes, but that guy, he goes, I know what he wanted. He goes, I wasn't going to give him it. So he gave him like $500 and out the door he went and he got 4 handguns.
There you go. He got his cash.
But you're 84th
Everybody
Street
left
today.
happy.
Yes, 84th.
84th and Giles. Is this right?
Yeah, that area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good people at Salts. I didn't realize they had a variety of everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's the holiday season. You want to
Yes.
get your shopping done. You want to get it done right.
So if I will look at like shotguns and handguns.
Gary's really good at reading people, and so you'll present yourself to Gary, and Gary will say, "Here's where I could point you."
Yes. They'll have grenade launchers. They had a grenade launcher.
Hey, actually,
What?
They had a noob tube.
Yes. I'm like, the guy walked me around the store. He was awesome. He's like, and he like knew the story of like who brought it. He goes, some guy that used to be he goes back. He was a veteran. He came in. He goes, hey, I'm just trying to unload this. So it just sits there.
Yeah, but they also have like Xboxes.
Yeah, yeah.
Xboxes,
What's on-
they have jewelry.
honey,
they
what's
have-
what's on your shopping list? Oh, I got a wedding band and an RPG I need to pick up. Oh, you're going to Saul's?
Well, there's only one
but-
place in
but
town where you
yeah,
can
like
get
Saul's
both.
is the place to go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Looking to pop the question or pop a grenade into a bunker. Saul's Jewelry and Loans.
Awesome.
But like then they have, they have bikes and they have like lawnmowers and they have I've never been in there.
Hey, it's going to snow this weekend. You might want a
That's
snow
true.
blower? You want
My wife asked me yesterday. She said, "Do we need to get a snowblower?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know if I'm there yet."
Whoa, you don't have a snowblower?
This weekend's going to be dry powdery,
Yeah.
so
You're okay this weekend.
Yeah.
Come on, you can get a snowblower.
It's not
I
a
mean, I
widowmaker.
can get a
Get a
snowblower.
snowblower. You're 33 years old. Get a snowblower.
I can get a snowblower.
Why don't you wait until your new house?
Right.
Then go lawnmower and
I think that's what's happening.
snowblower.
But my new house won't be facing north for the first time in my life. I will not have a
Whoa.
north-facing house,
Veteran move.
which I'm very excited about. And so maybe I could hold off on the snowblower for another several years. I'm not sure.
I have no idea if I grew up in a north-facing house or not.
Which
See,
You
those you've never thought about which direction your house faces until
You are an owner.
yeah.
Yeah, ever. That's never occurred to me.
so what do you not know which direction your house faced
No,
at all?
at all.
You can't even think about it right now and
It
and,
faced
and
this
no.
way. Here's the house. It faced that way.
Well, that's all houses face that way.
It faced that way. It's how it faced.
Do you know which direction that is out there?
That's west.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's east.
very good. Yes.
So that's north. Or wait.
So when you looked out
Yes,
when
that's
you went
north,
out to your
never-
front doorstep in the morning, did you see the sun? Was the sun rising?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Well, it was still dark. He was going to hockey practice.
That's right. Or was the sun in the back door? Or was it not visible at all?
I have no clue.
Okay. Well, that's
know
a good
what?
text for your mom.
You know what? Yeah. Let me ask her.
What?
I
Take a
think
picture.
Hey, Ma, take a pic.
so. The sun rises from the east and sets in the west.
You got
right?
it.
I think I was a north-facing house.
That's tough.
Yes.
That's tough. You don't get the sun to
what
burn off the snow.
direction does our house face?
So did you have a snowblower? Did your family have a snowblower?
Oh yeah, we had a snowblower, but then these idiots who live at my house currently haven't
Your mom and dad?
yes have not turned on the snowblower in 3 years. So they go, "Oh, Matt, you're here. You're 23. You're capable.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Go ahead and use the snowblower." I go, "Okay, great. When was the last time you used it?" "Well, I think like a couple of years ago." So I go out there, no oil in it. I'm like, okay, no gas.
That's why my lib machine is great.
No gas. Okay, cool. So I got to go to the Shell. I got to pick up oil. I got to pick up the gas. I got to fill it up. And then, I
Just use a shovel.
tried starting it. Doesn't start. Well, it hasn't, it's got an electric start and a choke start. So I had to shovel the driveway and the sidewalks. It's 2025. and we're
Meanwhile, I'm
shoveling
already
driveways.
done, feet up, drinking some hot cocoa with mini mallows.
Mini mallows?
Mini mallows.
Marshmallows?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. Have fun wearing your powder blue tomorrow.
We'll do. Powder blue out. Well, I'll be there.
Are they going to show volleyball?
Unclear. I think there was a conversation to be had this morning
Whoa.
around there. So I don't know where that came out yet. But we'll keep you updated if I hear anything.
My car guy just texted me and told me the best time to buy a car is the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Okay. Well, here we are. You
Got to
a
make
chance.
those
back with a new
year-end
car.
numbers.
He
got a
goes,
chance. They're trying to get those cars out.
everybody's broke, so no one's buying cars, and dealers pay sales tax on their inventory on Jan 1. They're motivated to sell.
Okay. There you go. Hop in. Water's
Go to
warm.
Skokie Honda. You'll get a great deal.
No, we go to Rizza Ford is where we went.
There's a Ford.
Yeah, or Lober Motors located.
Oh, Al. Al's longtime owner there.
at Lober?
A Big Al.
Yeah, that's Al.
No, it's not. It's got a toy barn. All right.
He also makes Italian beefs on the side.
Hell
no,
yeah.
it's not Al's Beef. It's
Oh.
Lober Motors.
All right, that's Crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Friday. We'll start things off next.
That's the Crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Friday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Josh Odson with you. Josh, next week will be out mostly.
I'll be in the 70-degree sun of Amarillo, Texas, suckers.
Chasing down. Is it really going to be that nice there?
It is.
Wow. What?
I may never come home.
You don't want to stay in Amarillo. The weather might be okay this time of year, but not, I don't know.
Not Amarillo.
I don't think you want to stay.
There's other cities that are 70 degrees.
Let's see. I want to look at Amarillo. How remote is it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They got some things.
Well, yes, but what is there a city near it?
No.
You got Lubbock. You're kind of close to Lubbock, and then you're halfway in between Albuquerque and Oklahoma City, it appears. It's really going to be that nice in Amarillo? I mean, that's not that far south. It's in northwest Texas. It's in the Texas
I looked at the
Panhandle.
Weather yesterday morning, 65 to 70 every day.
No kidding. Good job. You never know. They get the sun out there a lot, because it's kind of mountainous, things like that. Like in Denver, Denver, it might seem like it's miserable weather because you get these piled on snowstorms and kind of just wacko weather. But most of the year, it's sunshine, which you would trade, I would anyway. Okay, it snows 8 feet one day. I'm buried, sad, but then the next day it's 60 and sunny,
Oh, okay.
I think that's, that's a good trade.
I apologize, Colorado. I was unfamiliar with your game.
Yeah, gets nice and sunny up there in the mountains. Anyway, so Josh will be spending some time in the Texas Panhandle next week for the Iowa Western National Championship game against Hutchinson Community College. They are. It's dangerous. Iowa Western and Hutch.
Oh yeah. I hate those guys.
Just battling over and over again.
Yeah.
So, in honor of that, we will speak with Iowa Western head coach Scott Strohmeier today on the show. We'll talk about how much he hates Hutch and how much he loves Amarillo. although Stroh seems like a cold weather guy.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be uncomfortable wearing just a long sleeve T-shirt on Wednesday night.
No, he'll wear the jacket still for some reason.
I have them all bundled up.
It's like a cartoon character. He never changes his clothes.
Elsewhere, Bryan Munson will join the show at the top of the hour. Bryan Christopherson, 11:30. Steve Sipple at 1. We will not start a fight with Steve Sipple. We're lovers, not fighters.
Why would we?
On this show.
Imagine starting a fight with someone so beloved as Steve Sipple.
That is the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We want to hear from you all today. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You could call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor Josho at 1620thezone.com. on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. Hi, everybody. Locked in for a big weekend. We got volleyball. It's time to show off the volleyball state to everyone.
Got one team in the Elite Eight. We're looking for more.
It's Creighton in Kentucky, and we could be looking at Nebraska, Louisville in one of the other regional finals.
Red versus red, blue versus blue.
Kentucky versus Nebraska.
Wow.
I mean, hello. Maybe it's a battle for the volleyball state.
Interesting.
This weekend, we will talk about Creighton volleyball and advancing to the Elite Eight yesterday, and sort of where they're at as a program right now. Turns out making the Elite Eight for 2 years in a row means you're in a pretty good spot, considering all the changes that they had as a program over this past year. Elsewhere, this weekend, Nebrasketball goes to Illinois to play the European All-Stars this weekend. Excited.
Europe?
Yeah, I mean,
I hate those guys.
It's exciting to see Nebraska on the world stage, right? It's
That's the
really,
goal.
it's really like team Nebraska versus Team Europe,
Well, I got to root for Nebraska.
except for they're playing in Champaign, Illinois tomorrow. Sure. So we have that. Army Navy. Any interest? Army Navy.
It's one of our greatest sports traditions. Yes.
Heisman. Any interest?
Is that Saturday?
Wouldn't it be?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
You tell me.
I believe that's right. I don't have it on my sheet, but
Is there a 30 for 30 afterwards?
Great question. I thought you do what to watch.
I haven't done it yet.
I thought you do what
We got
to
4
watch.
guests today. I'm going to do it later.
All right. Awesome.
They're giving out the Heisman tomorrow. Did you guys know this?
Yes, I did, but you made me think twice about it. Yes, John Rothstein says he will buy everyone Peronis for an hour if Nebrasketball wins an NCAA tournament game this year. So at least you have, you can go, if you're a Nebrasketball fan, you can win an NCAA tournament without fear of nobody giving you recognition. You will get recognition with John Rothstein coming and hosting a happy hour and buying everybody Peronis for an hour in downtown Lincoln, which I don't know where they're going to get the Peronis. Did we know that they had Peronis in Lincoln?
I didn't. I just assumed
Lincoln is not a Peroni town.
Really?
I don't think so.
Omaha is.
Omaha's a Peroni town.
Okay.
Of course, Omaha's a real city. Lincoln, do they have Peronis?
We'll have a snowplow ship in Peronis.
That's what you should do. Buy Lincoln. If John Rothstein really cared about the city of Lincoln after Nebrasketball wins an NCAA tournament game this year, if he really cared, he would put down his credit card and buy Lincoln a snowplow and then fill that snowplow with Peronis.
Now that's a gift.
And then deliver it to the local bar. People are excited about this. Travis says the Dutchman and the Turk will be fighting for America. That's right. Nebraska has a Dutchman and a bloody Turkish man on their roster, and they'll be on Team America. Also, Black Guy writes in, hope Gottlieb isn't around if he's putting his credit card down.
Got him.
Maybe he'll bring Gottlieb along, and then we'll do a test, and he'll put his card on the table, and just to see if Gottlieb steals it or not.
Great test.
It's a great test, It's a test of will at that point.
Do you think when Green Bay's on the road, the opponents do that? All right, show us your credit card game.
Probably. It gets even funnier in that way.
It does.
I got a text, by the way, from our guest coming up at the top of the hour, Bryan Munson. Of
Texas.
Yes. We'll ask him how the weather is down, although he lives in a more civilized part of Texas.
Of course.
Munson texted me and he said, you need to call me and hear my new voicemail greeting. Oh, I didn't respond. I didn't have a second to call it. So maybe you should call him early and he'll answer the phone and he'll say, hey, I'm going to hang up and I'm going to put you to voicemail and see what happens. I don't know what it's all about. If you're a recruit calling, please dial 4 or something. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be like. I have no idea what to expect. So that's one of the conversations that we could have with Munson coming up in just a little bit. We are happy you are with us today. Also today, we will have a pair of tickets to the Creighton basketball game.
Whoa.
On Saturday at 2.
That's tomorrow.
Jay's in the regional final in volleyball Saturday at 4. Tomorrow at 4. Like I said, there was some conversation about potentially, just keeping the arena open to sit there and watch the volleyball game afterwards. If I hear anything on it, I will let people know. But you gotta. There's a lot of. You can't just say, all right, yeah, we're going to stay open. Cause you have to staff it and all of those things. So we will see what happens in that regard today. And if I hear anything, I will certainly keep you updated on that. All right. Welcome to the show. Hey, look, here's Joel, who
Hi, Joel.
tweets us a meme. It's a picture of Josh in the place of the king, George Strait. And it says Amarillo by morning. Retweet.
Been singing it a lot lately.
You're excited about the Amarillo thing. Do they have any buildings there?
Oh, yeah. They
Tall?
got buildings.
Are they tall?
No.
Okay.
It's very spread out.
Here's Seth on Amarillo.
Hi, Seth on Amarillo.
My brother and I drove our grandparents' minivan back from Phoenix to Omaha several years ago. We went a little out of route just so we could go through Amarillo. Amarillo sucks. My brother bought a pair of cowboy boots there, though. Wish I had money to do that at the time. He could walk around with swag saying he bought his boots in Amarillo.
Okay.
And you could do the same, Josh.
I
Will
would like
you
to
buy
do that.
boots in Amarillo?
I mean, no, probably not.
Okay.
I like knowing I could, though.
Travis on Amarillo. He says it's flat and brown.
Yeah, that's true. There's a 7 Brew by the hotel. What more do I need?
But at least it'll be 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Apparently. All right. Welcome. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys?
Join Gary from 1620 The Zone this Friday from 11 to 1 o'clock at Saul's Jewelry and Loan, located on South 84th in La Vista. The huge holiday sale is going on now, so don't be a Grinch and get to Saul's Jewelry and Loan Friday from 11 to 1.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Got a text here from a 531 texter.
Hi, 531 texter.
Before this person said, well, a couple things. Number one, Happer snowblowers are fun, but
yeah, I'd agree with that.
The south-facing driveway, south-facing house is worse. Get the snowblower, and then this person sent in a picture of the example of about, because in the winter the winds blow in from the north, and all the drifts from everything just blow into like the house, into the driveway. But isn't that the purpose of having the snowblower? I mean, I would still argue that the north facing house is worse, because what I'm really worried about is because the snow's coming up, right? Whether I have a snowblower or whether I have a shovel, which I currently have I have a shovel. I have a shovel. I have a shovel. The snow is coming up. I'm getting the snow off of my driveway. But the problem is, and the issue is, when I look out my window 3 days after the snow has fallen and everybody has cleared their snow off their driveways, I still have the thick layer of rocky ice that sits on my driveway because it hasn't been burned off from any of the sun that we may or may not have gotten, or temperatures that we may or may not have gotten. Well, I guess if it's nice temperature wise, then it'll be fine. But if we don't get we're not going to get the sun, so then you don't have, if you're facing south, you have a nice clean driveway. That's all.
I do.
And Josh does. And he has a lib machine.
I do.
For a snowblower, and he's not worried about any of this nonsense.
Not worried about any of it.
He's sitting in the what? Drinking what? Hot cocoa?
With mini Malos.
With many Malos. I don't know. I don't think South is worse. You can't convince me that South is worse. But luckily, I don't have to deal with that. I've never lived in a south-facing house, and I won't anytime soon.
Good for you.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't seem good for me because I live in the north-facing house.
Yeah.
So then I will live in a west-facing house.
You're making the change, though.
Making the change. We're just gonna see. We're gonna see what's going on. Now, that would not have been prohibitive in the purchasing process of the home. Like, oh, this house is north facing. I don't know if I can do that again. No,
okay.
It would not. It would have been disappointing, but not prohibitive in the process. This morning, the University of Nebraska made official their hires of Rob Orich and Jeep Wade.
Jeep.
Yeah, Mr. They got Jeep. Here is Matt Rule on Rob Orich. Rob Orich is one of the top young defensive coaches in the country. Success has followed Rob at every stop, and he has made during his coaching career. Rob will bring great fundamentals, energy, and toughness. His defenses play with the style and energy level I want out of our defense. We are excited to have Rob and his young family join our Husker family. It gives a little background on him. Orich says, I am truly honored and humbled to step into this role. I have a tremendous respect for the history of this program and for what it means, I think, to wear this logo. Nebraska's fan base is passionate, knowledgeable, and unwavering in its expectations. I look forward to embracing those standards and can't wait to get to work. Jeep Wade, he's a proven developer of offensive linemen. In his 11 seasons as a full-time FBS offensive line coach, Wade's linemen have combined for 23 all-conference awards, including 9 all-ACC awards for his Yellow Jacket linemen from 23 to 25. How about that? 9 all-ACC awards over a period of 3 years for any of his offensive linemen. Rule said Jeep is well known as one of the top offensive line coaches in college football. His offensive lines play with great technique, discipline, and tenacity, and they have excelled in both powering dynamic running games and providing elite pass protection. He is also a proven track record as a high-level recruiter. Jeep and his family will be a great addition to Husker Nation. And then every time any new coach comes along and they have one of these press releases, and it's always like, or they have their first press conference. The question is, okay, well, what made you want to come to Nebraska? Like, why are you here? And usually what they say on using a variety of different words over the years is, well, it's Nebraska. I mean, like, why would I not? Why would I not want to be the offensive line coach at Nebraska? Why would I not want to be the defensive coordinator at Nebraska? Jeep says, the tradition at the University of Nebraska is unmatched. I have known Coach Rule for many years. I understand what he stands for and the type of program he's establishing, and I wanted to be a part of that. Wade will join the staff in bowl preparations and be on the sideline with the Huskers during the Vegas Bowl for their matchup with Utah. There you go. It's official. They're in. Not that we had any concerns about them being in the first place. Then, just as an update, still watching for some other things going on as far as the coaching staff is concerned. Where is Elijah Robinson? What is he doing? What is he doing?
Oh,
nobody is saying anything about Elijah Robinson other than people on the LSU in the LSU circles are saying it's not going to be here.
Okay.
So that's the sense from LSU. Penn State apparently has gotten involved or was involved in some way, shape, or form. And then there is Nebraska, and people keep kind of coming back to Nebraska. I maybe there's some sort of like waiting period here to get this all worked out from a contractual standpoint, whatever it might be. I continue to feel good about Nebraska adding Elijah Robinson as their defensive line coach. They have also added another man from San Diego State.
A man.
Roy
Rogers.
Roy Manning. They've added him reportedly as their edge rushers coach. And then apparently there is a second offensive line coach, sort of like a recruiter type. It seems like that they are in the process of adding as well. We need to get the board updated with all of the assistant coaches.
Yeah.
Names. Teasley.
How did John Bishop do all day yesterday? Update that board.
Teasley. I think his name was Teasley.
Teasley?
His last name was Teasley.
I don't know that I like that.
What? You don't?
Teasley?
Lonnie. What if I told you his first name was Lonnie?
I like it more.
And
LT?
As I keep saying, I mean, the portal is not yet open, but the portals, the behind the scenes portal is definitely open. There's some stuff going on behind the scenes.
There's a line forming for when the portal opens.
I think so. And so with that being said, maybe you're trying to attract some coaches or bringing in some coaches into your program who already come with a baseline connection with various players that you could potentially plug into your football team next year. Somebody asked us, we had a mailbag show on the Locked On podcast.
Hello. No spoilers. I got to catch up.
And somebody, you don't listen to that podcast, Josh.
Not every day.
And somebody asked us, hey, give us a portal outlook. Like what's going to happen here? And it was really the first time I had thought about it that way. Like how many are they going to take and what positions are they going to take? And so in my head, I just started at the top and I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what happens at quarterback, but maybe quarterback. Sorry. And running back. Okay. Probably going to be another year of a wide receiver or two. I'm probably going to maybe need a starter or two on the offensive line. Okay, defensive. So it's kind of, it's like you go into a place and you're really hungry and you just say one of everything.
I like that.
One of everything. And we don't know who Nebraska is going to lose yet out of the transfer portal.
Probably no one.
Travis says, get the big board. We really do need to start on this because the names I'm surprised I even came up with all the names, to be completely honest.
What are they doing in the afternoon? You can erase these record predictions.
Well, Josh probably wants
game to play.
Josh probably wants to keep his up because he was the only one on the board who was right.
We'll hang a banner.
Okay. All right. Let's hang a banner for him in here. And then there's something that says Brownie. And then there's something that says Otani 85.5. And then there's something that says Jerry Kuth. And then a prediction on how much Memorial Stadium beers would cost from a variety of different people.
Probably get rid of that as well.
Yeah.
You got to keep the Brownie one. I mean,
what does that mean?
I don't know. You're doing a good job, Brownie. That's what W said to that FEMA guy that one time.
Oh, yeah.
People seem to really get triggered by that.
Pedro writes in.
Hi, Pedro.
Hi, guys. So are you saying that you have a Mount Happer at home and at work?
Oh, yeah.
I don't refer to it as Mount Happer at home.
What do you call it?
My yard.
Okay.
my yard.
Classic.
That's what I call it. Speaking of all of those things, Sam writes in.
Hi, Sam.
Connor's driveway emphasis could be his house hunter's quirk.
Oh yeah.
So everybody who goes to do house hunters has like a thing that
Yeah,
they really want.
and it's something hyper specific that they're looking for in a home, and it's always the reason they buy the home. Like, okay, I'll go look at this house, but it has an iron handrail for the steps. That's a big no for me. I can't have it.
I mean, there are certain weird quirks and features about a house that just stick out one way or the other.
Gosh, a linoleum kitchen floor. I don't know.
But that stuff, that's fixable. I'm talking about like,
it's always something that's fixable that they're triggered about.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking about like stuff that is you're just getting this no matter what, And so the thing that you try to figure out, I think when you're looking around at various houses and you're going through the process, I'm trying to get a sense of like, okay, where am I? How long is it going to take me to get to things? I think that's really first and foremost for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then take a look around. What are the neighbors like? And because you got to live with these people. And then one of the next things is probably which way does the house face? I don't want to go through this next chapter of my life having a north-facing house again. It's been 30 years. I can't do it again.
Especially if you've had the north-facing house where you're like, wow, that really screwed me. Never again.
Exactly.
Never again.
And much like hiring coaches in football, you fire one guy and then you hire the opposite and the next one. You just hire the exact antithesis of whatever it was before. And that I found is a big deal for me in the winter, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it again. Didn't want to do it again. I also wanted a basement with a bathroom.
Yes.
I mean, just if I wouldn't have been able to get a basement with a bathroom, it would have been a big. I don't know how I would have been able to live with myself. You could throw it if you want to. If there's like a kitchen or some sort of sink, wet bar, or something like that, that's great. But it needs to have a bathroom.
We're a one-bathroom house right now. And
that's tough.
Yeah.
I hate going upstairs to go to the bathroom because I spend most of my time downstairs. And so I don't want to go upstairs to go to the bathroom anymore. It's just one of my things. I'm over it. I'm done with that point in my life. I have enough money. I can get a bathroom in my basement. And this is one of the things that I have decided that is a non-negotiable for me. Bathroom in the basement. All right. Just so you know, that's into my head a little bit. All right, so we're going to call Bryan Munson, and he'll probably tell you to call him back and listen to his voicemail, and so we'll see what that's like. Maybe you'll record it or something like that. I don't know. But we'll talk to Munson about a variety of different things, including, here's my first question.
Okay.
Does the Iowa State change potentially open up any doors for Nebraska? Whether it be directly or indirectly. We'll bounce that off of Munson and have plenty more coming up on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left zoom buster. 63 bang. Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y Wrap. All one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right. A sure sign of Friday. Bryan Munson from Husker Online joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Hi, Munson.
What's up, buddy?
How are you?
Hanging in there, dude. It's another week closer, I guess, to shutting her all down and spending a little time with the family and getting closer to portal time. Because I'll admit, I mean, we have a commitment to talk about. We got some coaching changes to talk about. Otherwise, there's not a lot to talk about.
No, more like, big picture, what do you think about this? What do you think about this question? I am right. I am curious. What I was very intrigued in the text that you sent me about an hour and a half ago about your voicemail message. And we still haven't heard it. Is there any tease that you want to put out there for me when I finally hear your voicemail message?
Well, if you're a Shawshank fan, you'll love it.
Oh, I have been talking about Shawshank all week. That's amazing. How appropriate.
I will be honest with you. The audio, I've got to figure it out. I'm a little stumped right now on how to kind of move some things around inside my iPhone, but the audio quality is not there. I have better audio quality actually as like a recording on my phone, but the way that you have to record a greeting, you have to literally like talk like we're talking into a recorder. So instead I have to play it off of a second device and it loses some quality from there, but you get the picture and obviously I've got that higher quality at another place. So I got to make this work because I think I was in tears listening to it this morning and just like smiles all around, like texting you, texting my wife, texting people like, you got to listen to my recording, dude. Like, oh, it's wonderful.
I'm excited to hear it. So maybe you probably haven't heard our idea. And maybe keep it between us, but we were gonna make a just a Shawshank Redux. Basically, we're just gonna recreate Shawshank, and so we were thinking about the cast and who plays Andy Dufresne and all these different things, and then we thought about like the plot, and it's the same plot, but like let's say the warden, he's running his games, but the warden, like. What was it? Everybody needs VPNs or something like that. Or the warden gets caught for having an illegal VPN, and MLB.com comes in and they try to get him out of there because he's using illegal VPNs. Like, we have some ideas. So if you want to throw anything into the pot for the new Shawshank, let us know.
It's like Dana White trying to track down all the Stream East users.
Yeah, exactly. And it turns out there's a real hotbed inside the Shawshank prison part 2. Yeah.
I think your modern take on that basically timeless classic would be very interesting and fun to do.
Thank you. We have 2 screenplays in the hopper right now. We have that and Con Air 2, Da Moon.
You know what? I have one, since we've been starting it out like the last 3 weeks with a question for y'all. I have another question for you guys today because I don't know if I'll be available next week because I think I'm actually headed to Mecca on Friday next week. So I'm very excited to start heading north.
For a little the high school go around.
Oh, just doing the whole holiday thing, chasing the kids around, see the family and all that good stuff. So we're leaving out early, but we got to get back here fairly quickly after the holidays. But my question to you was, favorite like commercial kind of Christmas carol of all time?
Commercial. Favorite Christmas song.
Yeah, like you got a Bing Crosby tune, you got a Nat King Cole tune.
I will say I'm different from most people because people get mad when they hear the Christmas stuff around this time of year, and I get it. It's drilled. You're drilled over the head with it. I don't mind. I don't mind whatever comes on during this month. I'm okay. I'd like to get into the spirit a little bit, and I will say that a lot of people have gotten annoyed by the Mariah Carey song. I'm good with it. I think it's actually a great song, and I'm fine with it. And I have it in my head sometimes.
Yeah, I finally watched. So I watched Scrooged this week, which is just fantastic. And then Christmas Vacation comes up, and it always reminds me about the Ray Charles tune and the Spirit of Christmas song in there when he's watching the home videos. But the one song I'll always put on, like, as we're driving home, it's got to be Nat King Cole and the Christmas song. So chestnuts roasting on an open fire. But just his take on that, his voice is timeless. That was my grandma's favorite singer. So getting a chance to listen to that is that's like an annual just kind of time, passage for me. I got to do it.
That is the perfect, like, Christmas Eve, everything is quiet and, like, wow, this is peace. Thank you, Nat King Cole. I appreciate it.
I got that adult beverage, ice cubes tinking in the glass kind of thing, just toasting, hopefully with a fireplace there.
Beautiful thing. Another year down. Okay. So you mentioned the commitment. Let's start with that first.
Yeah.
We're way on to 2027 at this point. Nebraska has added quite a lot to its 2027 class. Tell us a little bit about Jaden Travers or Travers.
It's Travers. So Travers is, so it's interesting. Like, he visited Nebraska end of October. I believe it was for the Northwestern game. I don't think I've ever gone back and like technically lined up what weekend he was there. But Travers was in town for that weekend, and it was a big weekend. And there were a ton of other recruits there. And while I was kind of like getting an interview like set up with him over DMs, he just absolutely just shut down on me. But I'd gone back out there and I was watching his film, and he's an interesting guy. I mean, he's 6'4", 6'3", 6'4"-ish, 260. And when you've seen those guys before, thinking about where you were at, like at the end of October and odd front, that dude doesn't make any sense to me. That guy to me is like a 3 technique. He's a 3 technique guy that's going to be 6'3", 285, 290. Maybe gets up to 3 bills, but he's a little bit on the light side. He's got a little bit more athleticism. He doesn't have like that great length you look for out of a 4 or a 5. So you're really stuck with him as like probably being a 3 technique in an even 4-man front. So when you think about like where things were at with him being recruited before to where things are seemingly going with to a 4-2-5, he makes even more sense now. Yeah. And obviously I think that a lot of people probably got a chance to watch the high school football game on ESPN2 on Wednesday night when he did the announcement. St. Francis Academy, holy cow. Like, you want to talk about a talented high school. They have got speed and players at every position. I don't even remember the number of D1 players that they had signed, as part of the 2026 class. It was absolutely insane. Like, what kind of talent was there? So I mean, besides like the whole Jaden coming to Nebraska kind of thing, and Nebraska finally gets a defensive lineman for the first time in the last 2 classes, and you are also tapping into what is one of the most talented high schools in America. You're going to have a chance now, hopefully, to kind of parlay this thing at least to get the door to swing a little bit more open. The smiles are a little brighter because Nebraska's out there on the East Coast trying to grab guys from that part of the country. So I think that this is a good fit. It's a better fit now that Nebraska seems to be going to an even front. I think he's a very active guy. He's got quick punch. He was able to take on multiple blockers. I think that that's going to be a very, very kind of a key thing for him to have to be able to kind of make that adjustment. But, a guy that I think is going to fold in right away and obviously get some defensive commitments kind of going on that side of the football, because 2027 was setting up a lot like 2026 again, with just having only offensive players in the class. Now, at least Torrey Pittman's got a little bit of help over there.
Right. The other thing, you mentioned it briefly, the way he committed. I'm just looking for more context on this. Okay, so everybody saw the video of him with the flag. Was that an all-star? What was that? How did that come to be?
Yeah, it's a national football game, and I don't know exactly what the overtime nationals how they landed on these players, or if it's going to be a moving game, because clearly the fact that it ended up like in Baltimore at the Under Armour, field makes a lot of sense with St. Francis playing there, but how they got to face a Utah team, I don't exactly know. But I mean, his announcement was probably a little bit foiled, I think is probably the best way to say it, because like the camera kind of panned through and you saw this massive Nebraska fan in the flag in the tunnel. My son looks at me, he goes, "It's Nebraska," like that. And I go, "Are you sure?"
But everybody in the stadium was like, "Oh, there it is," but we all just saw it on the internet. Yeah.
I mean, the top three was a very kind of an odd three, obviously, with what's happened in Ann Arbor with Moore, being dismissed and the AD being dismissed. And, so have them in the top three with like Nebraska and Miami, and Nebraska doesn't technically have a defensive line coach. There were a lot of weird things kind of going through my mind, but I mean, you go to his Twitter, the last thing he talked about was visiting Nebraska in October. And, things have been relatively quiet there. He didn't take that trip. As far as I can tell, he was talking about taking a trip to Miami, but it never happened. So I think that he landed on Nebraska, kind of the old-fashioned organic way. Now things are going to work out a little bit better for him. But yeah, that announcement was cool, but it was just like, darn, I wish that he would have had a chance like to emerge from that smoke with that flag. That would have been really cool to see.
Hey, I'm glad you mentioned, like this time of year, the reason why it becomes so difficult to, track a lot of these things is there's a significant trickle down effect, and it starts at the top, which is coaching staffs move around, and sometimes in a very, very surprise type of way. So you mentioned Michigan. Nebraska, goes head to head with Michigan for a variety of different recruits in this area of the country. And I think even more so with Iowa State, who, there's a lot of Nebraska players who are committed to Iowa State for this year, committed to Matt Campbell, and he's off to Penn State. It's maybe not specifically one or the other, but in general, this time of year, it's fascinating because you could end up with a couple more guys in the class or on your roster this year at this point that you really weren't actively recruiting, and then maybe just fell into your lap at the end of things with staff moves.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, there's a few guys, I mentioned two of them in Tunnel Talk this morning. There's a third guy that I should have mentioned, and I didn't. I did mention on the board. Matt Ludwig, is a guy that Nebraska fans have known about forever. He's cousins with Vince Genatone, who's obviously on Nebraska's roster. And things were really, good between he and Nebraska for a long time. Visited Nebraska at least twice. And then things just kind of went quiet. Like they went a different direction. He came up with a top five. Nebraska was not part of it. He ends up going to Michigan. I think I was a little bit puzzled by that because I thought Nebraska was in such a good position for him. He's such a great athlete, could have played on either side of the football. So I don't think Nebraska is going to be in much of a position, I think, to get him, or at least they haven't shown a lot of interest, at least till up to now. But then you have like Will Slagle, like you mentioned, Iowa State 2027 OT commitment. So he backs off of his verbal. Had Nebraska there like all the way up to the end, decided to stay home. Now Nebraska is going to be right back in the thick of things with him for the 2027 class, which I think is very interesting because things have obviously changed over in Nebraska somewhat too, because Donovan Raiola is no longer there. But then like you mentioned, like, so Campbell loved to recruit not just Nebraska, but the Midwest. And since he's gone over to State College, one of Nebraska's top 2027 targets is now hearing, a lot from Matt Campbell over there, and that's Cooper Terwilliger. So the big 4-star athletic tight end from Pierce, South Dakota, is now hearing a whole bunch from Matt Campbell now that he's found a new spot over there in Pennsylvania. Now, the good news about all of that is, though, at least to, from a Nebraska perspective, Cooper's very interested in staying, regional. He's a Midwest guy. It's something that he repeated almost like, I don't even know, like 10 or 12 times the last time I spoke to him about when we were breaking down his top three. And it was just like, it's close to home. It's in the Midwest. It's a Midwestern school. They got Midwestern values. It was a recurring theme. So I don't know how much of that, like, Campbell can kind of stand up out there like in Happy Valley and make a guy like Cooper feel, like he's basically, still in the Midwest. That's going to be a very interesting scenario to see if he can kind of overcome that. But I think, with the changes at Michigan and the changes at Iowa State, things have to look pretty darn good for Nebraska and Cooper Terwilliger.
Matt Rule said earlier this week something along the lines of, great recruiters make great coaches, or great coaches are great recruiters, or something like that. And I've thought about that a lot this week as it pertains to the people that he's brought onto the staff and the people who he's still going to bring onto the staff. What have you learned, if anything, about Nebraska's new additions? Now, Orich is different because he's a coordinator, and those guys don't tend to get really in the weeds on that stuff anymore. But Jeep Wade in particular, and then obviously the big fish that's still out there, and Elijah Robinson, who many people know all about already.
So I did talk to a guy that was recruited by Jeep a little bit. Fantastic guy. I think that his players, he's a player's coach, number one. I think he's an incredibly relatable guy because he's a former player. He's got obviously that way to kind of break bread, sit down with you, talk about your process and all those things. But I think he is kind of, he's definitely a good recruiter. I think he's going to have a very interesting, different set of kind of surroundings with him at Nebraska. And I'm interested to see how he kind of takes these things for a ride, right? Because I think the one thing that's been a recurring theme for you and I over the last 3 years has been Nebraska's offensive line board typically starts out really, really, really strong. And then by the time we end up getting like to spring game and then maybe even like official visits, you're really narrowed down, and it's like why a couple of these guys have kind of come off the board, for just basically reasons that you don't understand. I want to see that change. I want to see not just like I don't want to call it a token visit like in the fall to where you maybe get something in the spring and it doesn't manifest itself into an official visit, but there's got to be a better way to kind of follow up with some of these top recruits that are visiting you in the fall and the spring and making sure you get them back for official visits. Because I think that's where things have broken down. You don't ever get a chance to host him on an official visit, unfortunately. You don't see him again in June. And I think that's where I want to kind of see where things go with him. And obviously, I think people are interested with both guys, with Jeep and with Ulrich, to see if anybody follows them from their old programs, as far as portal guys are concerned. So I think that's another fascinating thing. I think that was kind of, brought up a lot by like Signetti coming there to Indiana and the guys that followed him over because it's a culture thing. Obviously, I think there's probably some better players, sometimes on their rosters that can come in and do kind of a quick fix thing. But I think obviously there's a cultural thing that they also want to kind of get back to.
And then Robinson, who's not in the boat yet. Rule has been kind of circling this for a couple of years now. There was some interest a couple of years ago, didn't end up happening. Feels like a great opportunity for those two sides to sort of connect. And, his background as a recruiter is pretty extensive and as a coach. How big of an ad would that be if Nebraska was able to close a deal?
Great D-line coach and a great recruiter. I mean, he's been at some fantastic schools, some fantastic places. He's obviously coached alongside Matt Rule before in the past. It's one of those things, that obviously when the word broke, he technically didn't have a spot to like give to him. So that was a little awkward. But I think that, Pete Nakos has been doing a really good job for On3. I think he dropped a bit of a dime this morning on the LSU board that said, he thought that actually things were trending in other directions rather than Robinson going to Baton Rouge to follow Lane Kiffin. So that should be an interesting, sign for Nebraska fans. I think that, that obviously Matt Rule is hoping to get another home run hire here. I think that would be it. I think he's looking for a guy that can really get some big time players. And there's a ton of them in the 2027 class. A lot of guys have already made those visits. Unfortunately, one or two of them already come off the board. So Nebraska has to really circle some wagons here quickly to get more 2027 guys interested get them back in the spring, and hopefully get a chance to host them in the summer.
All right, Munson. Well, great stuff as always. Last few days and weeks here to really grind this out. There will be changes and things like that, and then you get some kickback time. So we won't talk to you next week. Is this right?
I don't think it's going to be really good because I'll probably be stuck in some place where I maybe hit and miss on the cell phone, and it's just
you're
good. That road gets a little between Salina and Oklahoma City. It's not great.
Yeah, no, you're good. We'll punt on next week, and we'll talk to you down the road. All right.
Happy holidays to you and all your listeners, man. We'll catch you up with you later.
Awesome. Bryan Munson from HuskerOnline.com.
Okay, I was waiting for you guys to finish, so now I can call his voicemail.
Say Oddson calling. Oddson calling your voicemail. Just make sure you text him first. Oddson calling.
Don't pick up.
Speaking of recruiting,
I
was talking with Mike Sauter the other night. Mike Sauter is a crazy person, by the way.
Definitely.
You knew this, right?
I did know.
So Sauter had what was it that day? This was Tuesday night, and he went to the Fred Hoiberg media availability on it was like at noon. All right. And then he was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go to the women's game today between Omaha and Nebraska. And he stayed all day long. The game started at 7. What did he do all day? He just sat there all day long. And so I had an extended conversation with Mike Sauter, and we were talking about some local basketball recruits and you know how kind of spread out a little bit the talent has been, and obviously the state of Nebraska is having a bit of a difficulty matching up from a talent pool perspective from what it was about 5 years ago. But it comes in cycles and it comes and goes. But the top recruit in the state for 2027 in basketball, London Dada out of Westside, has got an offer from Nebraska this morning.
Nebraska.
Fred Hoiberg and Peyton Borders went to his game last night at Westside, and he gets an offer today. Love to see the local kids staying in the state of Nebraska. You know, there's a kid in Nebraska. I forget the kid's name. I apologize. Maybe Sauter's listening and he could help me out. There's a kid in Nebraska right now who is committed to Hampton.
The Pirates?
Yes. Hampton.
They have a football team?
No. Basketball.
Oh, basketball.
The basketball Hamptons.
They beat Iowa State that one time.
Yeah. Yes. People forget about that. Now Iowa State might not lose to anyone ever again.
Ever.
So
either men's or women's basketball.
I get well, you know, they're just like Nebraska men's and women's basketball.
Yeah.
Never lost. All right. We will take a break. Bryan Christopherson is our next guest. Been busy this week. A lot of stuff going on. We'll catch up on it all with BC coming up on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Brian.
Bryan Christopherson,
I gotta take this. It's Hap.
B-Rony drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, I have nearly completed our big board on the side with all the names, so that way if I forget, who's the offensive line coach, I can look at this board and it will tell me it's Jeep Wade.
Some people talk about it. Connor, be about it.
There is a defensive line spot that is just empty, though.
Hello.
I'm not writing. It's a dry erase marker, but I'm not writing Elijah Robinson yet.
It's got to be official.
It's got to be official. Well, I guess there's some stuff on there that's not really official yet, like Roy Manning. But anyway, joined on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline right now by our good friend Bryan Christopherson. BC, hello. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. You keeping all the names straight with the Rob Oriches and the Jeep Wades and the Roy Mannings and the Elijah Robinson and the Lonnie Teasley and all the names?
I got most of them.
Good.
It's hard to forget Elijah Robinson because everybody on our message board posts about him every 3 seconds. So that one's easy. I was pronouncing Orich earlier in the week, but I've corrected myself, and I'll give myself a pass because I think Midwesterners are prone to mispronunciations. That's sort of how we were brought up. So I'll forgive. I mean, we still have people misspell Tom Osborne's name, when they post about him. So we'll give ourselves some grace as we try to learn these new guys.
So the mood and the general takeaway from all this week when Rule talked, I couldn't help but notice. I mean, it's clear moving away from this is especially evident with moving away from John Butler on the defensive side and bringing in Orich, that they wanted a personality, yes. Also someone they felt like could properly motivate and get to the fundamentals and stuff like that. If you extrapolate that, BC, and you think about all these different things, one of the things a couple of years ago was the idea that, hey, this is kind of like an NFL style type of model, and it's built that way, and we're gonna sort of create it that way. We're gonna shape it that way. Does it feel like that's the direction anymore? Not that means one thing or the other, just that it's maybe not so NFL-y anymore.
Yeah. As you kind of think back through this season and the different parts and, John Butler trying to put his stamp on it, but sort of playing off of Tony White's system in a way, but then you've got a new D-line coach, a new defensive backs coach. As you kind of reflect on it, it was so mixed and matched. it was kind of set up to go somewhat how it did at some point by the end of the season. I feel like they didn't just have like that identity that you sort of it's a thing we always grudgingly say with respect about Iowa, right? Like it can, like Dana Holgerson, when he's talking about that game, he's like, yeah, they're doing sort of the same system they were when I was at Texas Tech in like the Alamo Bowl 25 years ago. And there's like a respect to like, this is the system. Yes, there's wrinkles off of it. But guys generally don't have to overthink it because it's just sort of ingrained over time. And I think there's a push to try to get to that with a new DC, sort of build out like what Mike Eckler's done with special teams, to be honest. Totally. I think you had the model last year right in front of you of a guy with energy, yes, but mostly a great teacher of his system who can communicate it in a way. I remember one of the great quotes about Eckler this year. I think it was Rule who said it. Like, he could go out on a field with a bunch of sixth graders, teach them something, and they could process it back within the next, half hour or whatever. And so you're looking for sort of someone who, can get that across to guys, and you can see players respond to it in that way. And so obviously he thinks Rob Orich has some of those traits. We'll see for sure. I mean, I know what the the conversation for 8 months is going to be about, he doesn't have the power conference experience, but, the other side of it is football's become a game more and more where we're seeing 30-something stars and guys sort of rise up quickly. And everywhere he's been, they've improved. And it's hard not to be impressed by what he did at San Diego State, getting guys to really buy into that 4-2-5, because they weren't that good a year ago when he was elevated to that spot. They were a 3-9 team, and he flipped that over in a hurry. So you do have to give that a nod of respect.
The fundamental piece and the, when you think about it and how it's different from the NFL, teaching it at the college level, when they get to the NFL, there's a reason why they're in the NFL. That means they have the fundamentals and they have the execution of it, and they know what sort of focus it takes to do that all the time. And so you can get to some advanced stuff. And ideally, Nebraska will get to some advanced stuff, later under Rob Orich. But you could see it fundamentally that was the stuff that fell apart late in the season. And so I appreciate the at least recognition by Rule of that was it. And this is what we need to address, and let's go get someone who we feel like will address that issue for us.
Yeah, and there was also, Hap, there was a shockingly large amount of just missed assignments and stuff that gave layups to Penn State and Iowa in those two games. You don't want to take anything away from those squads, but Phil Snow was up front today, and he didn't get into every detail, but it was just guys were not in the right spots. There were all sorts of just basic stuff that was sort of out of place the last 2 weeks. And, that's sort of, that's a tough thing to say out loud or take if you're in that locker room when you're in November and you finish like that. You obviously got physically whipped, but I think part of it is, it was like guys didn't know where they're supposed to be in certain spots. And so it didn't make a lot of sense that would be the case at that point in the year. I do think for John Butler, real quick, before we move on to the next guy, I think it was a challenge for him in his time in the college game to adjust to guys who are not like those 29 to 31 year old guys who have, they know the game at this point, and you're kind of to a certain level in the book. It's harder, I think, sometimes for a guy who's been in the NFL that long to sort of adapt to the growth process and sometimes the patience that's required with college guys too.
So on to the next guy, like you said, BC, Jeep Wade. What? Aside from that piece of it, which I think, there's a resume there of him recruiting and developing offensive linemen. Are we to glean anything else from the hire that Nebraska made as their offensive line coach, and with maybe the direction that they're trying to take the offense, or is that looking too deep into a change out at that position?
No, I think there was some inside stuff that I couldn't speak real well about with my football brain that maybe they liked about as a change up in sort of their blocking from what it was under Donovan. But I think another big part is he's a really good recruiter. Even though he was only at Georgia Tech for 3 years, in the last cycle, he banked a 5-star and a 4-star. Florida State happened to be a school on both those guys who sort of thought they were going to get them. And Jeep Wade was a big part of winning those recruitments. And if you sort of look at who's been hired so far, and I know they haven't officially announced Roy Manning, but go look at Manning's, the guys who are associated with him through his, 20 years in coaching that he's, credited with as a coach for the recruiting part. It's pretty impressive. So I do think there is a definite search for those guys. Yes, they got to be able to develop, but you better be able, if you're a position coach, to recruit too, and be that sort of guy that really draws some of these top guys, whether it's the portal or just the normal recruiting cycle. And so I think that's a big part of Jeep Wade that people should look for. Is I think they think he's going to bring a lot to the recruiting.
Which direction, BC, do they need to, the offense we've been talking a lot about the defense because of the defensive hirings and firings that they've made over the last week plus here. But the offense, while maybe not undergoing quite as much, on the surface change in terms of who's coaching them this offseason, or at least that's not in the plans at the moment, with the exception of the O-line coach. What needs to be tweaked there, or which direction do you sense that they're going with the offense? Or do we have to just wait until everyone's in the boat as far as who's going to play quarterback next year to decide that?
Yeah, I think the last part's important. I don't know if you can answer that yet until that's completely settled, and maybe it is. I mean, I'm just proceeding as those guys are here until they're not,
right,
both those quarterbacks. When we get to that point at the end of January, I think you have to tailor your offense toward like, okay, who does it look like has the advantage at being QB1? What are his skill sets? But a big part of it, as I think about this offense this season, and all the sacks allowed problems that, they had given up 25 sacks like 7 games into the year. Now it improved in part at the end, but they really couldn't throw the ball downfield. It was like a non-existent. Like, think about, did we see that like 60-yard play ever, like on a every other week or something that kind of spurs you in a tough spot and brings you back? They just didn't have that in their bag. And I think somehow, some way, I get that you want to feed your playmakers and have them break a tackle and make the explosive plays that way. That there's a lot to be said for that. But they do, I think, need to add that element back to this offense where it's at least a threat that a defense has to respect. And obviously, build on the run game. It's going to be different without Emmett. He made some plays that were, blocked average or below average really great. There were some that were blocked really well, but he was a huge part, just his individual efforts in making things probably look better. And so you still have to explore, like, what you're doing in the run game and what you can build off of there. But then I think you got to really look under the hood at the red zone, both sides of the ball. I mean, it's just near the bottom in touchdown percentage, and, probably a couple games could have flipped if you can finish drives, or even at Penn State, if you finish that one early, at least it sets a different tone and maybe it's a different type of game. So I think you got to really look at what you're doing, like in the deep red, down inside the 10 and 15, and ways that you might be able to attack it differently.
No doubt. Brian Christopherson from Husker 247. Okay, we're saving Nebrasketball for last, but there will be Nebrasketball talk on this segment. The nation's longest win streak is up to 14. They're 1-0 in the Big Ten. They beat Wisconsin by 30. They beat Creighton by 21. Nebraska is ranked, and then you get a very big game right away on Saturday on the road against the European All-Stars from Illinois. What's your expectation going into this one? As Nebraska will probably be, I don't know, in the neighborhood of 7 or 8 point underdogs going into this game when the line comes out, should come out today, right? Or tomorrow.
Yep. They've surprised me defensively. I did not think they would be at this level on that end of the floor, especially that they've been lately. And, the first 7-8 minutes, maybe on Wednesday, Wisconsin got some stuff done. But after that, I mean, they really have a system that's working on that end, and Nate Lenzer's doing a great job with it. So going into tomorrow, you've always got a chance if you can pack that, on that end of the court. Now, this is a different type of beast, and Illinois is a really tough place to play. The students are right on you. They're going to let you hear about it in individual chants and all those sort of things. So we'll have to see if this team, how they handle like a true road game like that. But the one thing they've done great at this year, and they'll have to do it tomorrow to have a shot, is when teams have put together like 4-0, 6-0 type runs, they've squashed them in place. They have not let a lot of I don't even know if I can even think of one where maybe early against Oklahoma, but like a 12-2 run or something like that for the other side. And so that's going to be a key, is to really not let that big double-digit run or something like that happen. But they should be loose, I think, tomorrow, because sort of the expectations are probably, as you say, they'll be underdogs, and it's a short prep week. And I think just getting that at least 1-1 split in Big Ten play is huge for the mindset going out there. And I'm not saying it's a house money situation, but it's not going to penalize you in the metrics if you lose this kind of game. So I think you should go out there and just take your shot and be kind of loose about it.
I agree. It's a quad one opportunity for both sides in this. So Illinois is going to want it as well. All right, BC, great stuff as always. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk soon.
Yep, thanks, Hap.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 247. Check out all his great coverage all week and all year long over there. Couple things before we get to the odd news, Josh.
Yeah, what did we learn during that interview?
Some news on a couple different fronts. Ooh, if I told you I had news from Matt Fortuna and Jeff Passan, which one do you want to hear first?
I know the Jeff Passan news.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell everyone.
Yeah.
Michael Garcia and the Royals are finalizing a 5-year contract extension with a club option for a 6th. Gold Glove Award winner this year. So it'll be Bobby Witt Jr. and Michael Garcia on the left side of the infield until somebody gets traded. Good. Until somebody gets traded. But nice. Good. Fortify that infield. Good. Now give me an outfielder. And then here's from Matt Fortuna. Ex-Michigan coach Sharon Moore has been charged with 3rd-degree home invasion, stalking, and breaking and entering, or entering without breaking.
All right.
Entering without breaking. So he didn't actually need to break in. Maybe the door was just
They
open.
let him in?
The door was open. Or
it's a Dracula situation. You invited him in.
Unlawful entry or something like that.
I was wondering what the charge was going to be, and I figured it was going to be something like that.
Breaking and entering or entering without breaking in violation of MCL 7, allegedly unlawfully entering the dwelling of a victim with whom Mr. Moore had a dating relationship. A violation of this statute is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a $500 fine. Stalking for allegedly engaging in a willful course of conduct involving repeated or continuing harassment of the victim. And then home invasion, unlawfully entering the victim's residence to commit the crime of stalking. The home invasion led to the stalking.
You're right there.
Home invasion in the 3rd degree is a felony, punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $2,000 fine. Not in the grand scheme of things, and I want to be careful here. In the grand scheme of things, not among the most significant crimes in the world, right? But the whole situation as a whole is going to be detrimental to many.
Nothing about
to many.
There were rumored threats. I don't see anything about that in these charges.
No exact details on any of this stuff yet, but it will begin to, as they go to court and things like that, it will begin to come out.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe Friday at about 4:30, you'll hear what happened.
Some Friday in the future, yes, at some Friday in the future. Michigan man, Black Cat says, Michigan man, hate to see it. So Michigan man, nobody gets to say the Michigan man thing anymore is not. It doesn't come with the best connotation these days, Josh. The Michigan man reputation has never been more tarnished than it is right now.
Ooh. Yeah, okay, I would agree with that.
After the last 3 years.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a break. Odd news coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
We have Texas and Indiana volleyball going on right now from Austin. They just recently got a Terraflex court. And they're now building a new arena. Texas is up a set to nothing and has a 20-14 lead in set 2. Watch out. So are we ready for a Texas, Nebraska, Creighton, and then I think the other one is Pitt and Purdue, I want to say?
That's right, yeah.
Pitt and Purdue. Texas, Nebraska, Creighton, and Pitt. Are you interested?
I would watch.
And what if I told you it was just 3 hours down I-29?
Do they have lunch in this place?
And just 30 minutes away from the Platte City QT.
Oh, you got to call them back.
I'm interested. All right, Josh, odd news. What do we got?
Before we really dive into this story, I'm familiar with Mick Cronin. I know he is a tiny baby boy. What's his deal?
He's mad at everything all the time.
Yeah, but what, does it stem from something? Was he?
No, he's an angry boy.
Beat up as a child, or do we know anything about
that? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Some people are just angry.
Just what makes him tick? The UCLA Bruins head coach recently expressed his frustration with the team's 8:30 Pacific time tip.
He loves talking about tip-off times.
Against Gonzaga in Seattle this weekend. That's 11:30 Eastern, if you're wondering.
Mm-hmm.
But again, where the game's being played, it's 8:30. Not. It's late. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he needs to bring it up.
It's not that bad.
Anyway, he said in a press conference this week, "Don't get me started trying to stay positive. It's ridiculous. Why don't we just play at midnight? I mean, what are we doing? It's so disappointing. It's so crazy. Let's tip it off at 11:30. My dad's real happy about it. He's 84. He's going to have to take 2 naps on Saturday to watch us play. I mean, what are we doing? I've got no words." Actually, sounds like you have a lot of words there, Mick.
I get it. As a person who lives in a state who follows the basketball teams who are on or were formerly on the West Coasts of their conferences.
That's right. Omaha, the San Diego of the Big East.
We get slapped with 8 p.m. tip-offs all the time. The San Diego of the Big East and formerly the San Diego of the Big Ten. Although San Diego is now the San Diego of the Big Ten.
What? We got a broadcast with Xavier next week that starts at 5. Calm down.
Sometimes you get lucky.
That's very lucky.
Sometimes you get lucky.
Josh Peterson gets an hour off work.
That's a 5:30 tip?
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes it's a night where both of the games on TV are Midwest teams in the Big East, and then you don't know what to do. And then it's just a luck of the draw at that point. Nebraska played Wisconsin at 8 the other night. It's tricky. He doesn't need to be talking about it all the time. He talks about it too much. Mick Cronin. He talks about it too much. He talks about the travel way too much. I know, I get it. I'm sorry, but dude, you're in the Big Ten, and I can't change the fact that Los Angeles is a several-hour plane ride away from your next nearest location that isn't Washington, Oregon, or USC. I can't change it. Nobody can. Even getting to Gonzaga, it's far away, and I know he's bitching about the tip-off time as it pertains to this, which is a little ridiculous. 8:30 Pacific is kind of wild, but TV is TV. They're deciding what they are deciding.
Do you want people to watch your game or not?
Yep. It's balance.
The Olympics are making news.
Oh,
Team USA doing something it's never done before. Ahead
Team
of
USA what?
Team USA, the whole team.
Okay.
Ahead of February's Olympic Games in Italy.
Are they all going on a boat again?
No, I don't know how well gondolas run in February, but I guess we're going to find out.
Damn it. Get them all on the boat again.
Team USA naming Snoop Dogg its first honorary coach.
Why does he have to do everything?
He loves the Olympics more than anyone else.
Does he, or is he just the person that? I don't know. Why does it have to be Snoop Dogg? He's cool. I'm fine with Snoop Dogg.
I don't know.
Why does it always Snoop Dogg?
I watched him during the summer games, and let me tell you, the enthusiasm jumped off the screen. I'm not joking.
Like, we are dangerously close to. What is the next thing that Snoop Dogg does? Didn't we have the Snoop Dogg Bowl? Didn't we have the Snoop Dogg Bowl?
the gin and juice bowl. It was the Barstool Bowl, and then it became the Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice Bowl.
Okay.
I don't know if they're doing that this year.
So I gotta think we're like less than 5 years away from Snoop Dogg World.
Like a theme park?
Yes.
Okay, that's not a bad idea.
That's a prediction. Put it on the board. Snoop Dogg World will open in less than 5 years.
You'd have to open that in California, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And people would go.
Let's see. What does this article say about this? Coach Snoop will be the chief hype man and sideline supporter for America's fearless Olympic and Paralympic athletes in, I believe it's Cortana, Italy.
Okay.
After all, the Dogfather's successful youth football league, that is not a qualification, is renowned for developing future NFL players. So motivation is virtually his middle name. I'm just reading the article, people.
Yikes.
I don't like the article, so I'm going to hit the ejector button on it.
I talked with
Snoop.
Oh no, it was Duncan McGuire. So Creighton legend Duncan McGuire.
That's right.
He was on the U.S. Olympic team a couple of years ago when they were all on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Were you on the boat with LeBron?" And he said, and I was very, very disappointed to hear that he was not on the boat with LeBron. They had like a game or something like whatever it was. But the soccer team wasn't on the boat with LeBron. And I had all sorts of questions about the boat. And then the whole interview just went completely out the tubes because obviously I want to know how his life is going and how his career is going and all those things. He goes to almost all the Creighton games, by the way. He has been at them recently. But I really wanted to get the inside scoop on the boat.
On the boat.
Yeah.
One nugget from this interview, it appears this might not be it might not be for the love of the game. I know this shocks a lot of you. Snoop Dogg's Coach Snoop brand and Fanatics have already teamed up for exclusive Team USA merch.
Sure.
Thought we were doing this for love of the game.
I'm telling you, Snoop Dogg World is coming soon.
Okay.
Snoop Dogg Land, Snoop Dogg Park, whatever it might be, it's coming.
I'd go. You get like like one of those, like a yard of gin and juice in the plastic cup.
Big cup. Big cup.
You remember
Wear your green hat?
You remember the story of the drunk raccoon in a Virginia liquor store?
Yes.
Earlier this week, late last week. Well, it turns out this is a serial offender, the raccoon. An animal protection officer in Virginia's Hanover County said the infamous drunk raccoon that broke into a liquor store is a serial offender. Hanover County Animal Protection previously revealed the raccoon had broken into the Ashland ABC store on Black Friday, broke several liquor bottles.
ABC stores.
Yeah, we do. And was found passed out, drunk in the bathroom. Samantha Martin has now disclosed on an episode of Here in Hanover
podcast,
Hanover County's official podcast, weird flex, but okay, that this was not the trashed panda's first crime. This is not the first time he's been in one of the buildings, Martin said. Supposedly, this is the third break-in he's had. He was in the karate studio. I think he got into the DMV and ate some of their snacks. Martin said the raccoon spent a night at the shelter after the liquor store incident to sober up before being released near the scene of multiple crimes. This guy's like an animal version of the butt sniffer.
That's by far the best thing that's ever happened to the Hanover Today podcast, right?
I would think so. Their clicks are going through the roof right now, right?
If a raccoon broke into NRG Media Omaha, it would be the greatest thing to ever happen to 1620 The Zone from a content perspective.
We would never stop talking.
It'd be better than anybody getting fired or anything. We would never stop talking about the raccoon.
Huskers losing an entire season's worth of games. Yeah. Winning the national championship.
Nebrasketball is a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament and gets beat by UMBC in the first round.
It would be terrible, by the way.
It'd be awful. We would hate it, but it wouldn't be talked about as much as the raccoon breaking into Nerg.
Yeah.
Not at all.
there would be there would be a bust of the raccoon
Yeah.
to memorialize the event.
There'd be T-shirts, all sorts of things. Josh, thank you.
Thank you, Connor.
All right, put the prediction on the board. Snoop Dogg World will open within the next 5 years. That is the odd news. We'll be back noon hour coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
We now have screenshots from the Sharon Moore arraignment hearing. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this, Josh?
I have seen this.
He is appearing in court via Zoom.
That's how they do it now.
From a very, very small holding cell inside of the jail that he's located in a all-white jumpsuit. What a photo. What a picture. So odd.
It's a hell of an image.
He had it all like 2 days ago.
Prepping for Texas and the Citrus Bowl, and now you're in a closet.
That is the tiniest room I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That is it's not a closet. It's clearly made exactly for the purpose that it's being used for right now. It is the smallest room I've ever seen. He's a foot away from the door. He's a foot away from the other wall. He's less than a foot away from each wall on either side of him. It is a very small room, and the white jumpsuit really brings it all together.
It pops.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy stuff. Speaking of crazy stuff, did you watch a football game last night? Did you happen to have Kyle Pitts on your fantasy team?
No and no.
Yeah, if you had Kyle Pitts on your fantasy team, the next question that you have to ask yourself is, was Kyle Pitts playing on your fantasy team, or was he on the bench on your fantasy team? If he was on the bench, you hate Kyle Pitts. If he was playing, you love Kyle Pitts. I hate Kyle Pitts.
Oh no.
40 points for Kyle Pitts. The best game of his career. It is the first week of the fantasy playoffs. I've spent 14 years in the stupid fantasy league, and I have never won a championship. And yet,
it's because you make decisions like that.
No, it wasn't my fault. How is this my fault? Was I really supposed to play Kyle Pitts?
You got to know who to go to.
I was supposed to play Kyle Pitts over
roster.
George Kittle. Who would you have played, Kyle Pitts or George Kittle? You would have played George Kittle.
Well, the Niners are playing the Titans this week.
Yes.
So yeah.
But and I thought, when he had like 15 points, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe Kittle, it's not that big a deal. Maybe Kittle will get like 10, or maybe he'll go for 25. Like, you never know. But Kittle's not going for 40. And so I'm screwed, and I'm really mad at Kyle Pitts. But as mad as I am at Kyle,
that's a hell of a line. Wow.
Did you see what he did last night? He was the only person who did anything on the Falcons except for Bijan Robinson.
I knew he had a good game.
The Falcons were unbelievable. They just kept throwing dump-off screens to Bijan Robinson. He would make the first guy miss, and he would gain 40 yards. And then their other plays were just only to Kyle Pitts, and then other people dropping the ball.
I was here working on some things, and I used the bathroom, and the game was playing there, and I heard Jason Benetti say, and the Falcons have just set a team record for penalties in a game.
Yes, that's right.
I was like, they must be getting their butts handed to them.
That was my reason. That was my reasoning for not playing Kyle Pitts last night. I was like, it's the Falcons, and they're playing the Bucs, who are kind of good, and it's Kirk Cousins.
Bucs needed it.
Kirk Cousins is going to throw the ball down the field. Is this right? That's definitely not happening.
Mike, I did look at the play-by-play after the game. I was watching TV last night. I went, who ended up winning that game? The Falcons? How's that possible? And then I looked at the play-by-play, and I was like, wait, they scored a touchdown with like 3 minutes to go, and
they won.
They gave the ball back to Tampa, and Tampa didn't run out the clock?
Well, they threw an interception. Baker Mayfield threw an interception. And I mean, it might be time to give up on the Bucs.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great for my Panthers. Go Panthers is my takeaway from last night.
Mm-hmm.
It might end up making the playoffs instead of the Bucs at this point. And the Bucks are crumbling at the seams. 2 straight weeks, 2 consecutive losses to the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. A crime punishable by exile. Usually for the head coach. Well, the head coach had some things to say about the way his team performed last night, and he said it quite colorfully in a creamsicle color. Here's Todd Bowles after the game last night.
It's inexcusable. You don't make excuses. You got to care enough where the hurts. You got to care enough where the hurts. It got to mean something to you. It's more than a job. It's your livelihood. How well do you know your job? How well can you do your job? Well, you can't sugarcoat that. It was inexcusable, and there's no answer for it. There's no excuse for it. That's what you tell them in the locker room. Look in the mirror.
How terrified were you clicking that button?
I had to convince because I listened to it 6 times this morning, and I made sure that I got them all. But still a little scared. That was a lot of cuss words, Josh.
It was.
My favorite one was in a bleeping excusable. He just tossed it inside a word.
Forced it in there.
He tossed it inside inexcusable. In a bleeping excusable.
It's inexcusable. You don't make excuses. You got to care enough where the hurts. You got to care enough where the hurts. It got to mean something to you. It's more than a job. It's your livelihood. How well do you know your job? How well can you do your job? Well, you can't sugarcoat that. It was inexcusable, and there's no answer for it. There's no excuse for it. That's what you tell them in the locker room. Look in the mirror.
This is Todd Bowles, who's already been responsible for a great press conference moment in the past, which he was asked about the Detroit weather during the playoffs, and he said, "You do know they're playing at home. They have a dome. You do know they play in a dome."
And then everybody was like, "Oh, come on, you can't say that. It was a woman asking the question or something like that."
Oh yeah, it became a culture war.
And like, no, you can correct her in that instance. It's
classic.
fine.
It became a culture war.
Yeah.
But yep. So Todd Bowles post-game press conferences, they might be over soon. You can't lose to the Saints and the Falcons with the playoff life on the line 2 weeks in a row and then have a tirade after the game where you throw every one of your players under the bus and say they don't care. Look in the bleeping mirror. It's in a bleeping excusable. He's going to get fired because they're not going to make the playoffs now. And that's crazy because I still think they're probably one of the best teams. I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs. God, no.
They're just so banged up, but they're always so banged up.
Yeah, but that wasn't the problem last night. They're actually healthy now.
Yeah.
Like Evans and Godwin are back, and Bucky is back, and they're healthy. And it's when they've gotten healthy that they have now sputtered over the last 2 weeks against the Saints and the Falcons. Yikes. So
big yikes.
He's probably going to get fired, but at least we do have this.
It's inexcusable. You don't make excuses. You got to care enough where the hurts. You got to care enough where the hurts. It got to mean something to you. It's more than a job. It's your livelihood. How well do you know your job? How well can you do your job? Well, you can't sugarcoat that. It was inexcusable, and there's no answer for it. There's no excuse for it. That's what you tell them in the locker room. Look in the mirror.
Look at the bleeping mirror. It's really, obviously, it's way better unedited. Unfortunately, we cannot bring that to you here.
Yeah.
It's way better unedited because of the nonchalant and low tone nature in which he says the cuss words, including throwing the F word inside of the word inexcusable. Like it was something that he just always says. He wasn't more fired up than he ever is. He just said a bunch of cuss words and undressed his team, but he said it in the exact same way he said, "You do know Detroit has a dome, right?"
He didn't Denny Green it where
no.
Pounding the table or no emotion.
Nope. Just went with Todd Bowles.
I agree with you that this might cost him his job. Just point of reference, on June 26th, he signed a multi-year extension with the Buccaneers.
Perfect. Kiss of death. Mustache Adam writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Mustache.
What font would you print the Bulls rant in? Great question. Do you think I could fit all those words onto one T-shirt?
I mean, yeah, you could put it on the back of a T-shirt.
It's inexcusable. You don't make excuses. You gotta care enough where the hurts. You gotta care enough where the hurts. It gotta mean something to you. It's more than a job. It's your livelihood. How well do you know your job? How well can you do your job? Well, you can't sugarcoat that. It was inexcusable, and there's no answer for it. There's no excuse for it. That's what you tell them in the locker room. Look in the mirror.
10 and 30 seconds is about as high of a rate as you could get.
You could put that on the back of a shirt. They put the Field of Dreams speech on the back of a shirt.
Yeah, I'm sure they could.
Yeah,
they could do it at one of our one of those T-shirt shops in Vegas where they print all sorts of nasty words on shirts.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh, have you not seen one of these?
I've seen swear words on a T-shirt. Are you telling me Vegas does it different? Because I'd be interested.
You do seem like the kind of guy who would buy a shirt that says a bad word on it. Poll question.
Okay.
Does Josh seem like the kind of guy who would buy a shirt that says a bad word on it?
All right.
Yeah, you don't strike me as a guy who cares much about what your shirt says on it.
This is my personal Twitter account.
Is that the right read?
Shows.
Is that the right read?
It's actually no. I
really.
I would.
You want to tone it down?
I would never in a million years.
When did we go to Vegas?
A shirt with a swear word on it.
When did we go to Vegas? November last year, right?
Yes.
Because we walked down the street and we saw some things on the shirts. Maybe that was from the time before. To be honest with you.
Been so many times on the company dime.
Zero, you mean? Yeah. Let's see. We go back to November before that, and I could. Do you think it'd be bad if I showed the camera what was on my phone? Do you think we would get any?
No, it's the internet. It's
just.
I mean, internet, right? Hey, heads up, we're gonna put a swear word on there.
I might show you some things. You might see some things. Maybe this was the time we went in March. Here they are. Josh, would you wear this shirt? Pull up that stream here. Would you wear this shirt?
There's no swear word on that T-shirt.
No, but it has a butt on it.
It does have a butt on it. A cartoon butt. I would not.
I should probably skip that.
My kid does think I have money coming out of there, though.
Would you wear this shirt?
No.
Okay.
No, I would not.
All right, interesting. Honestly, I don't feel good. Here's Nick at
White Castle.
Yeah.
Hi, Nick.
That was shortly before I dropped that glass beer bottle and did not get kicked out.
I respect it.
I definitely did not get kicked out. So that's what Todd Bowles is up to.
I like it.
Yeah, Dan says, do you think I could fit all those words onto a T-shirt? All you need is in a bleeping excusable. That's true.
Oh, yeah, you could really boil it down to just that one.
Texter Brian says, I forgot to check my lineup and left Pitts in by accident.
Hey!
Oops, guess I'm going to win.
What a time for him to have finally a breakout game.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I was going to look that up.
What an exact moment it was for him to have the best game of his career. Yes.
Whoa.
I did not like it very much.
It's his 5th year in the league, Connor.
Yeah. Somebody asked me last night, it's like, what is this, his 2nd year, 3rd year? I said, I don't think so. I think it's been longer than that. Yeah. He hasn't done anything. And I took a buy low flyer on him this year. And I was like, yeah. And he's sort of produced. He's sort of been fine. And
yesterday was his 75th game in the league.
Yeah, he went absolutely ham.
Finally.
He went ham. I have a question, Josh. When does the Big Ten football schedule come out? And why haven't we heard any? Why aren't they pimping this? Why aren't they talking about this?
This
SEC,
is great. Yeah.
The SEC football schedule came out yesterday, meaning just the dates and we knew the opponents,
the weeks, the matchups,
the dates,
in order,
the weeks, and the matchups. That way you could sort of plan your week and see who plays on what day and plan your Saturdays. I mean, the SEC will be wall to wall on ABC and ESPN, of course, all day long. And they had this big release thing last night. And now everybody's talking about it, and all I could look at is the grids with the schedules and crickets from the Big Ten. Crickets. I hear nothing. I want to know.
The Big Ten is currently cosplaying as a major athletics conference.
I don't know what they're doing.
What are they doing?
I genuinely don't know what. Like, do they have a mind for themselves?
There's no strategy.
And I asked
there's no communication.
I asked that question dangerously because I know that if they did have a mind for themselves, then it would be stupid. You know, the one time we have given them the ability to, or they have shown off the ability to think for themselves, is the time that we came up with the ridiculous college football playoff idea that Tone had. Which is still ridiculous, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
This week I saw some columns that said, "Hey, I bet you're not so mad about this whole multi-bid for the big conferences playoff thing anymore. Maybe Tony Petitti looks like a genius." Wrong. Please get out of. First of all, please stop carrying water for Tony Petitti of all people. He doesn't need you to carry water for him. He has 12. He has 18 athletic directors and chancellors that could do that and that could proffer his ridiculous idea for college football playoffs. As you hear Big Ten coaches talk about this crap, and I'm like, guys, stop it. Please stop it.
He's not going to date you.
But I know what they're doing. I know they're carrying water for him because it's the Big Ten Conference and the Big Ten has to be united and together and all these different things. But you don't have to do it. You with a column, you with a podcast, you with a radio show, you know that it's not a good idea. You don't have to carry water for Tone on this. Just because we have many, many stupid ideas for college football playoffs doesn't mean that Tone's isn't still stupid.
What if we did one of those like West Coast Conference brackets where one team gets 11 buys?
Awesome.
What if we did that for the college football playoff? See,
there's so many ideas.
Stupid idea.
There's so many ideas out there. By the way, Travis has a sobering stat for me here. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, Travis.
7% of Kyle Pitts' career fantasy numbers happened last night.
Whoa.
When he sat on my bench in the playoffs.
That's a 5-year league vet.
Also, the guy, Big Red Fanatic, is here.
Hi, Big Red Fanatic.
Big Red Fanatic continues to talk about, he just continues to list things. Red Fanatic says,
roster numbers that don't matter.
Has Connor mentioned Nebraska has 8 coaches from Temple who have 0 titles combined at a Power 4 level? I haven't.
You haven't?
I haven't.
Why are you carrying water for Temple?
Yeah, why is Big Red Fanatic? Oh, I'm carrying one. So
yeah.
You're saying I'm supportive of the Temple coaches?
Yeah, by hiding this news story.
No, I am actually I actually don't care what the background of coaches are. I know I'm alone on this island.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that people want, like, you have to get a guy who's coaching the Big Ten. You have to get a guy who's won national championships. Why don't we pay for the best guy out there?
There's not a lot of coaches that have won national championships.
I believe that fit matters. I do. And I'm not saying that the coach that currently is in charge is necessarily the best at evaluating what that means, or certainly hiring the right people in the first place. But I think there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat as far as how your staff is made up. So I'm sorry.
Why would you want to skin a cat, Connor?
I don't want to skin any cats.
You said there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Well, there are.
You hate dogs, now you hate cats.
That doesn't mean I like skinning cats. Don't put it on the internet that I like skinning cats. I just think there's a lot of ways to do it, probably. I don't know. But that's just what I've heard from people. Hot Danger has another sobering fact.
Hi, Hot Danger.
Sobering fact, if you stop drinking alcohol, you will have improved liver health, lower blood pressure, reduced diabetes risk, better sleep, and restored energy.
Literally a sobering fact. Okay.
Literally a sobering fact.
Thank you, Hot Danger.
When we come back, we will be joined by our good friend, Scott Strohmeier, who has a national championship on the line with Josh Hodson in his cowboy hat on Wednesday. Back of this on 1620 Zone. more of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. Josh Hodson, champion of life. And
I'll take that.
And more recently, champion of football.
No, I just enter numbers into a computer. I don't.
Well, I don't know, Josh.
I don't make the plays.
Okay, we better talk to the guy who makes the plays then.
Well, he doesn't make the plays either.
Who makes the plays for Iowa Western? Scott Strohmeier joins us now on the hotline. Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Who makes your plays? Who makes the plays?
Well, there's a lot of them. If you came in our office or in our offensive staff room, you'd see there's lots of plays being made on the boards. The boards are full. You just got to figure out which ones to that you want to run.
Okay. So actually, I sort of like this is a good path to go down, I suppose. Then we like to talk ball. We'll talk about the national championship game coming up here in just a second. How much creativity will go into a game plan, especially considering you have some familiarity with your upcoming opponent on Wednesday in Hutch?
Well, we had those conversations, and I think at the end of the day, what got you here is number one, you know, and then you give coaches 13 days we have from our last game to this one, and then the familiarity. Like, let's not reinvent the wheel. They're going to have, I'm sure, some wrinkles. We're going to have some wrinkles, but at the end of the day, you go back to what got you there, you know. And but again, as coaches, you're in the film room, and like we've been watching this film now for a week, and each day you can come up with new stuff. And at some point, you got to be like, okay, how much are you going to do? You know, how much do you want to add, and all those things. So it's a happy medium, like I said, and the familiarity between both teams adds a little bit. What's the chess match going? You know, what are they going to do? What do we think they're going to do? If they do this, we got to do this type of thing. So there's a little chess match going on.
So you mentioned do what got you there. What has gotten you there this year, and what has gotten Hutch there as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, one, defensively, obviously stopping the run, you know, and we've done a really good job of creating some turnovers, and offensively, I mean, you know, a balanced attack. You know, I think we've gotten some explosive plays. I think that's a big thing against a really good team. Like, you got to find ways to get some explosive plays and then make those plays. I mean, Hutch has been defense. I mean, this will be the two best defenses in junior college going head to head. You know, they give up 9 points a game. We give up 14. They give up 53 rushing yards. We're probably, I don't even know if we're at 100 or somewhere around there. I mean, two really good defenses facing each other. And then offensively, like I said, they're throwing the ball probably more, and you know, their quarterback's been their leading rusher for most of the year, you know, and throughout the course of the game. So, but in the their last 5 of times we played each other, it's been less than a score game. Is kind of what, you know, when two good teams go at it. And I told our team, you know, even the time before we played them this year, coming from the national championship the year before and the game last year in the regular season, there's 3 to 5 plays that are going to decide the outcome of this game.
Yep. I mean, it's amazing. I'll let Josh ask the next question, but I'm just looking at like the tail of the tape from the last time you guys played, which was in September. It's actually incredible. 343 to 343 in total offense is literally the exact same number. Third down efficiency, 4 of 13 for Iowa Western, 6 of 16 for Hutch. You know, no fourth down conversions on either side. Passing game was very, very similar as well. You know, 1 pick on each side. Like, what did that game come down to? And what could you know, like you said, it's 2 or 3 plays. And how do you convince everyone in that room when those plays are coming and how to be prepared for those moments?
Well, you know, because, you know, the national championship game last year, I mean, we lose by 5. We gave up a punt return for a touchdown, and there's probably in a crucial point, a third down conversion that we missed a block. And I mean, not that it's just those two plays, because there's multiple plays in there, but if you convert on those and you don't give up that, it's a different story. And this year, I mean, we gave up a block punt for a short field that led to a touchdown. That was crucial. And then we had an extra point block that led to a 2-point conversion that ultimately was a 3-point swing, and we lost 30-27. You know, and so now there's other plays, but that could have went either way, but the ones that were the most significant, and we talked about it. And I think even after that game, week 2, we tried to explain to them, like, we can't take these plays off, or we have to be able to make those plays. And some of them are mental, and it's not a talent issue. It's, you know, we can't make that mistake in that time of the game. And hopefully it hits, you know, and like I said, until you're in that situation. But, you know, the last 2 times we played, we were on the wrong end of those, where they made those plays and we didn't.
Coach, team record this year, 64.5 sacks. The all ACC team littered with Reavers on the defensive side of the ball. To what do you attribute your ability to get after the quarterback? And can we do that on Wednesday night?
Do more of that?
Oh my gosh,
Keep
we
going.
have to. We have to. Number one, I mean, it starts with you know, our defense and you know, Coach Blackburn and then really Coach Terry, of the culture that he has in that room. And you know, I was telling someone earlier today, we're going to line up against Hutchinson, and both of their DNs are 6'7", 250 pounds, and you know, we're going to roll out there with a 6'2", you know, 245 pounder, and the thing that Coach Terry does a really good job of is he finds guys that fit. Jeremy Lewis was a high school running back. You know, Blake Hawkins was a linebacker. You know, and but you find the guys that fit your style, and we're not getting caught in. You know, I mean, everybody was saying on Andy, you know, our defensive tackle is going to K-State. He's only 6'1", maybe 6'2". We like those 6'4". Well, he's been one of the more disruptive interior D linemen that we've had since probably Quintrell Travis, who's at Auburn, you know, who's 6'5", you know, 290, 300 pounds. So finding the right guys, fundamentally sound, and then the schematics that we bring defensively, I think has been, you know, I mean, really attributes it. And no disrespect to this group that we have right now, but I mean, if you'd have told me before the season that we'd have broke our sack record, I would have said, I'll take it right now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and they're just playing at a high level, and that's a lot of, you know, credit has to go to our defensive staff and getting those guys ready to go.
So how much juice is in the locker room for this one? If you could try and decipher it for, okay, how much does it come from, like, we're in the national championship game, and then also we're playing Hutch, you know, like it's as close to the, you know, Michigan Ohio State rivalry in junior college football as we have.
You know, and I think obviously when you want to get there, and not that, I mean, again, Hutch is a really good football team, and you know, if you're in that situation and you want to try to avenge a loss, I mean, I think brings a little bit. You know, they were upset after the first time we played, and you know, we've been practicing now since Saturday. You know, we've been practicing, and you can tell they're just ready to play the game. And we have 3 more practices here before we go, and that's where I was trying to get them today. Is not that there wasn't excitement or enough juice, but you're running the same plays over. You're running, you know, you're doing the same things over and over and over, and we're throwing in little things each day to kind of give them something. But the mental focus and really it's going to be, you know, now we got the weekend and school's out and there's not a lot of distractions, and really these next 3 days before we head on the plane to head down there. But they're ready to go. It's like I said, it comes down to now in this situation of execution and you know, taking care of the moment when you get it.
When do you allow yourself, if at all, I assume hopefully afterwards with a cigar and a bottle or something like that, to think about this run, 5 straight national championships and sort of what it's been like over the last almost 2 decades for you at Iowa Western now?
I said, and we won it in 2012, and we played on a Sunday, and we got back, and that Monday we had a team meeting, and that Tuesday I was on the road recruiting, and it took us 10 years to get back to another one.
Yeah.
I said that you have to enjoy it a little bit. And I mean, to think about it for 5 straight years, the expectations we put on ourselves as coaches and the team to get back to it, you got to give this team a lot of credit, because it's not easy. And every single week someone's giving you their best and they want to knock you off. And these guys answered the call every single week. But you don't get much time. I mean, because it turns around, like, we got to replace a lot of these guys, and we're already in the mix of trying to, I think we'll have some guys signed here soon or over the weekend of guys that'll be coming in. But you got to enjoy the moment too, because I mean, it's not, I don't know. I mean, I don't ever want to take it for granted that we've been in the 5 straight, but there's a lot of coaches out there that never get this opportunity, and we've been fortunate enough to do it for 5 straight. And so you got to enjoy it. But at the same time, if you want to do it the next year, you better be ready to replace some of those guys, and you can't let some of those schools that aren't playing in it get the edge on you in recruiting.
Yep.
Coach, I want you to grade your coaching performance this season, because you had a nightmarish offseason personally. The first month of the season, you had to make some real changes on that defensive side of the football to get it to gel just right. Last week in the playoff semifinal, your D-line's got influenza, and they're out there still holding Tyler to not scoring the ball, intercepting the ball left and right. Kind of a lot going on there. How do you think you've done this year?
Well, let's go this way. I was never a really good student, so I probably can't go much more than a C or a C plus. But I'll give my assistant coaches an A plus, because they did a lot. I mean, obviously you're doing your thing, and it's this season's been is challenging, but at the same time, it's kind of I don't want to say refreshing, but it kind of gives you something to, your mind and in other areas. But like I said, my staff has done an unbelievable job, and picked up a lot of the slack, in that May and June, and, of doing a lot of things that maybe I've always had to do. And when you have stability and those guys know what you're looking for, it went smooth sailing. Right. So obviously, like I said, you got to give the credit to those guys, and I'm a small piece of this thing, and fortunate that I have the guys that I have to help me, and the kids too. I mean, they knew, but I tried never to make them think, this is about me or the struggles or the challenges. It's still at the end of the day about the team. And because as a coach, what do you do every single day? You challenge them to fight through the things that they're maybe dealing with, if it's academically or at home or a relationship or whatever it is. And you're telling them, once you step on the field, this is your opportunity to go out there and do the thing that you love to do. And obviously you don't, like, off the field, you're still dealing with some of those things. But like I said to myself, I ask them all the time, like, when we're from 7 o'clock till 8:30 in the morning, it's football. Like, you love it. That's what you all love football. If you didn't have football, we don't know, what we would be doing, myself included. Right. So I had to say to myself, like, you know what, when we hit the practice field and we hit the film room or whatever, it's about football, and you're going to deal with your personal stuff outside of that. And that's what we did.
Yeah. All the credit to you and your staff getting back to this spot this year. Wednesday at 6 is the national championship game on ESPNU. Coach, always enjoy talking to you around this time of year a whole bunch, and good luck on Wednesday. We'll be rooting for you here in Omaha.
I appreciate it, and I hope maybe I get one more call this year.
Yeah, we'll get one more.
Thing, right?
I mean, we usually call Josh on the morning after if you win the national championship because he's in like this weird questionable state. I don't know. So we'll see if we can talk to you both.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Scott Strohmeier, the head coach of the Iowa Western Reavers, Wednesday at 6 on ESPNU, live from Canyon, Texas. Canyon.
West Texas A&M.
Amarillo. Hutch in Iowa Western Blackhorns once this year, 30-27. Back in September. Very, very close game. The Michigan-Ohio State of junior college football. Here we are.
Seems like an apt comparison, yeah.
You like it? Now nobody's getting arrested or anything like that afterwards.
They better not.
Nope. Not dealing with that. When we come back, we will round up the hour. I got a couple things I want to get to, and then we'll call Steve Sipple. Yeah. It's Friday, after all. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. But first, we are rocking and rolling football season. Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. You can make picks and win money right now in Nebraska. Playing underdog, is very easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get those picks right. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So if you had Kyle Pitts higher everything last night, you're in good shape today. Or you could take like Joe Burrow over the weekend. They play Baltimore. That's a bad defense. Pass yards, 259.5, higher or lower. Just one of the many options available for you on Underdog right now. Download the app. Use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5 with promo code HAPPER1620. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing. Get terms _DFS_.html for details. Consider with your play call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
All right, Josh gets his honking segment, and now it's my turn.
What are you going to honk?
What am I a honk for?
Creighton. I mean, they play K-State tomorrow. Got to have a game.
Yeah, Creighton basketball, yes. Creighton men's basketball, yes. What else do I honk?
The Royals.
I honked the Royals. I've already honked them.
You have. You've honked them.
We got enough honk.
What are we? Oh, you stopped already. Okay.
Well, you got to turn it up.
What are we honking?
Honk! Creighton volleyball.
The volleyball, yes.
I don't know how much more evidence you need. Okay. This is, and I understand how this might sound if you're only familiar with Nebraska volleyball. Okay. They're like, oh, that's, cute, whatever. But this is one of the elite volleyball programs in the country.
Well, literally, they're in the elite eight.
No. I'm not talking about just now. I'm talking about this is one of the premier volleyball programs in the country. And I don't know why people don't talk about it that way. It's new, I guess. But I think they should be right there in the conversation with. It's not. It doesn't have anything in its trophy case like Nebraska does, or Texas, or whatever it might be. But when you talk about the premier volleyball programs in the country, you talk about Nebraska, you talk about Texas, and you talk about Wisconsin, and you talk about Pitt, and you talk about Louisville, and I think Creighton is right in that conversation. I truly believe that. And here's why.
They're as consistent as those other brands. Yeah.
They got a new coach this year. People weren't sure.
A man.
They lost 2 all-timers, which is something that we are now very familiar with talking about. They lose all-timers every year now. They're going to lose another all-timer this year. They lost Nora Sis and Kendra Waite last year, and now they're going to lose Ava Martin this year. They're going to lose Kiara Reinhardt this year, and they're going to, whatever. They'll change over. But with all that, year over year, losing Kirsten Bernthal Booth and Nora Sis and Kendra Waite and the whole class from last year, they're back in the exact same position as they were a year ago, when most people would have told you, I think, at the end of last year, like, oh, well, okay, this is just the top. This is it. This is their greatest all-time team. And
what was it last
that's
year?
As far as they got.
They lost to all 4 Final Four teams or something like that.
And they lost in 5 to Penn State in the Elite Eight, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. They were a couple spots away from, hosting this round this weekend. That'll be the next step, I think, for this program, right? Winning some of these matches in the early part of the season, and then hosting this weekend at DJ Sokol Arena going forward. They're not very far away. In fact, they weren't very far away this year, to be completely honest with you. They were like a point or two away, or a loss on the road in California when their whole team had the flu, or actually not the flu, food poisoning.
Oh, no.
Half the team went home because they were puking all over the place and had an uncharacteristic loss early in the season. That stuff hurts your RPI as a program who doesn't get many opportunities in the Big East Conference. So Ava Martin will be gone, and Kiara Reinhardt will be gone, but there will be another. There will, not to minimize what they've done, but Abby Hayes is next, and Jay Johnson will still be here, and they'll get people out of the transfer portal. It is an attractive place to play volleyball, and I just thought that part of it should be recognized, because when you hear them get talked about with the programs that are still in the NCAA tournament right now on places like ESPN, the home of the volleyball tournament, you wouldn't think that. You would have thought that they were closer to Cal Poly than they were Texas and Arizona State and Kentucky and whatever it might be. They're not. They're a hell of a lot closer to Texas and Nebraska than they are Cal Poly. Some sweet, fun story that they just made a run in the NCAA tournament.
Let's see. I'm trying to think
of
who's still in this tournament. They've played Texas. They've played Kansas. They've played, obviously, Nebraska. They've played Louisville. That's just really good scheduling, by the way.
Yep.
To be able to say, okay,
thank you, Kirsten.
Round of 8, who's going to be there? Oh, we'll schedule 6 of them.
Yeah, it worked out, I think, with the AVCA thing at the beginning of the year
Yeah,
to get Penn
definitely.
State, because I don't think they were supposed to be in that at first, and then somebody dropped out and they got added and whatever it was. But yeah, so maybe they will start getting some of these games. I mean, they got Louisville at home this year, right? So maybe they'll start getting some of those, going forward. And
Now, at some point, you
gotta
gotta
step by step.
You got to take that next step. And
What's the next step? Go to the Final Four,
or beat some of those
Yeah.
top 5 teams in the non-con.
It's coming.
Nebraska volleyball fans will tell you, I'm sure they're screaming at their radio right now, never lost.
Creighton puts, I mean, there was a lot in the offseason. Remember when the whole NIL, we were talking about the NIL stuff and how there was that moment where everyone thought that like the Big East was going to be positioned as this great basketball conference and like the biggest basketball conference ever because of how it was able to distribute its NIL money because it didn't have football. It's the same thing for volleyball if you want to. And Creighton is the one program in the Big East that wants to.
Yeah.
And so they'll do that. I see every day how much they put into and how well they treat their student athletes in volleyball. And it's certainly better than anybody in the Big East. So I don't see why not. I don't see why you wouldn't want to play there.
You got enough local high school talent to throw a rock and
and they've always recruited locally. And there's a lot of things for women, especially about Creighton University, that make it really an attractive school to go to as well.
Have you seen the renderings?
I've seen the renderings, but not just an athletic department, the academic parts of, there's a lot of nurses on the team.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like there's going to be doctors and stuff like that. A lot of people go to college for 6 years, Josh.
I mean, this Blue Jay volleyball team was 5-5, and there was like
people wondered,
okay, maybe I guess this is the step back. 2 all-timers left, like a very difficult non-con, but it's like I don't know, maybe they're not as good as they were last year. They've rattled 23 off in a row. It's not 30. I know, Nebraska fans. It's not 32.
Yeah.
They're pretty darn good.
Jason says they need to beat Nebraska one time to get legitimacy within the state. Hey, you might be right. They've gone to 5 with them each of the last 2 years. You can't get much closer than that.
It'll certainly change things.
Yeah, it would. But maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. And maybe, just maybe, Creighton is the one team that Nebraska doesn't want to see. Maybe. And maybe if the stars align, they'll see each other in the national championship.
Whoa. The state would implode in like the best possible way.
It would be quite the sight.
Crime in Nebraska would be at an all-time high during that match because the entire state will be in Kansas City. No one will be home.
It would be quite the sight.
Yeah.
We'd have to warn the Plaid City QT again.
Hey, do you remember when we called in August?
This is the same thing. No, it's just a little bit smaller. I mean, it's not as big of a stadium. A little bit smaller.
Right.
It's a little bit smaller. All right. By the way, I haven't heard anything about the whole watch party after the game tomorrow. They haven't said anything though, so I assume I don't know. I don't want to say anything, but we'll see if they turn on the game on the big screen tomorrow at the Chai.
I don't know. It feels like it's right there.
We'll see.
Feels like it's right there.
We will see. Quick break. Steve Sipple is up on the other side on 1620 The Zone. Whoa, what's that noise? That's not
Seether.
That's not Seether. That is just random non-copyright music.
I don't like the bed music.
Random non-copyright. You don't like the bed music?
No,
you don't like my songs? You don't like my songs? You don't like my songs?
No, I like your songs.
Where are my songs?
They're on the last page.
We can?
Yeah.
Why does it say that?
I don't know. It was like that when I got there.
You don't like
No, I like your songs.
Oh, okay. You can't.
It was also a
wait till I get my money back. I like that too. But it's not Steve Sipple.
It's not.
It's not Steve Sipple. And it's
sad.
So what happened?
Well, I picked up the phone. I called him and he said,
"Is he mad at us?"
He said, "Hey, I'm not talking to the Zone boys anymore because they be starting bleep."
He didn't
and I
say
said,
that.
Sip, I would never start anything
Not
with
his
you.
fault.
Yes, they can.
That's not his fault. He did not say that. What
No,
did he say?
He said, "Hey, we're recording our video right now. Our Husker Online video. We're about to start."
Okay. I should have, because I usually text him and I ask him. Out of all of this, I feel partially responsible now.
Whoa!
Because I forgot what time we're actually scheduled for week by week.
1 o'clock.
Is it 1 o'clock or is it 12:30?
It was 12:30, and he said 1 o'clock works better for me.
Okay. So, but also keep this in mind. We are now going into a different part of the calendar.
Yeah.
It is the off season, and all of the weeks don't have the same sort of rhythm and flow to them anymore. And so things will change in terms of times and days and things like that. So that's okay. I don't think he's mad at us. I should probably call him afterwards. Maybe I'll call him on my way home. I'll just say, "Simple, what's getting you? You know?
Yeah.
You got anything going on
Are we
right
good?
now? Are we good?" But he's not coming on the show because he hates us.
What do you think the video? Do you know what the video is? Do they do a
I'm
weekly
sure it's
video?
just a podcast. I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm sure
okay.
it's
Yeah, that's right. Podcasts are videos now.
Podcasts are just videos. Yeah. Husker Online headlines.
I listened to a Bill Simmons pod and a video started playing, and I said, "What the hell's happening?"
And it was Bill Simmons.
Yeah,
talking.
Yeah, and they're like, "Would you like to switch to audio?" And I go, "Yes." I clicked on the podcast.
Here's some theories from the internet.
Hi, internet.
On YouTube, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt says this: "I think Sipple has an unspoken disdain for the rest of the Nebraska media members as he considers himself to be the lead dog in all of this." I think people have, I feel like we talk about this a lot, but I have always felt like Sipple is a little bit misunderstood.
Ooh, let's pick at that.
He's a little bit misunderstood.
What do you mean by that?
I think he's very, very, first of all, he's a very, very nice man. Very nice man.
Does he have a rep as being a mean guy?
I don't know, but I feel like when you say stuff about him and you're like putting the picture together, it comes out that way.
Okay.
Not that he's mean, but that he's like old and gruff and, thinks one way. I don't think that, I think we've seen over the years, he's changed, he's gone through ebbs and flows on opinions on certain things and stuff like that. And he's a very, very giving with his time, I don't know. I'm not sure what the image is people have with him, but that has always been my impression of him. That's why we're great friends. That's why I call him my dad sometimes. And sometimes he gets mad at me, and sometimes I get mad at him.
Whoa!
And then we
like a real family.
Yeah, we'll maybe yell at each other, and then we will recover. One time he was a 12-year-old and unfollowed me on Twitter.
Wow, that's how you know you've done it.
He unfollowed me on Twitter for something that he thought was my responsibility, but wasn't. So he never even talked with me about it. And he just unfollowed me on Twitter. And then one day on the show, I was like, "Hey, Simple, why did you unfollow me on Twitter?" And he was like, "I don't want to talk about it." And so I'm like, "Wait a minute, actually, what are you mad at me?" And then he told me what it was, and I said, "I didn't do that." And then we were fine.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys...
We got it straightened out.
Imagine if you were two adult men who didn't talk to each other like a lot of adult male relationships
It
where
happens.
you just don't talk about
Somebody's got to break the ice,
Yeah.
you know? Somebody's got to break the ice.
Hmm.
Like me and writing the new coaching staff on the board over there.
Someone had to do it.
Somebody had to do it.
And Connor said, you know what? I'm going to do that. It's going to help everybody. And there it is. Look at all those names. There's a man named Jeep on that board.
There is. I thought it was Geep maybe at first. But it's Jeep.
I see why you would think that.
What do you think of my handwriting? Could you grade my handwriting skills? Not as good as yours, obviously.
I thought you had better handwriting than this.
What? You don't think that's good?
I
think it looks really like.
Okay, here. This is going to sound terrible.
You think it looks girly?
It's fine for a man.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Men typically have poor handwriting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not chicken scratch. It's
No.
better than whoever's handwriting that is.
Yes, it's also a tough putt.
I think Josh has good handwriting too. He wrote those words.
The placement on the board in relation to that, I don't know, it would hold the markers. Like getting your hand
the
in
ledge
there.
yeah.
That's
There's some stuff that we had to work around for sure.
what font is Connor's handwriting? Asks Mike.
Josh, that's
Great question.
That's up for you.
Well, there's no serifs.
No, I didn't put any serifs on my letters. No, that would be funny. I don't know. I couldn't. I think you could do that now, though. You could just like write a bunch of letters down and then like scan it to a computer, and then you could turn your own handwriting into a font.
Incredible.
Which could be kind of fun. Do you think I should do that? And maybe that'd be fun.
I think it's worth a try, right?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It seems like kind of a little bit of work that I would.
A little bit, but you got a weekend coming up.
All right, so we talked about Creighton volleyball in the last segment. How about Nebraska volleyball?
Oh, the undefeated Nebraska volleyball team.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Oh, Josh, hey, what's your website that you put stuff into that because I was able to look at this on my phone yesterday, and now I think because I was able to look at this on my phone, I'm not able to look at it on my computer. I don't have access to. Let me see if it works on here.
All right, what are we talking?
I'm talking about like a story that I want access to read. All right, I got it.
You got it? You
Yeah,
good?
I got it on my
Okay,
phone.
I'm sorry.
All right, because Nebraska and Kansas will go at it
Are you
tonight.
out of free clicks?
And apparently I was. I didn't know that was a thing for KUSports.com.
Oh yeah, you got to get the annual pass.
What the hell is up with that?
I don't know.
So in the record books, Nebraska 88-0-1 all time against the Kansas Jayhawks in volleyball. 88-0-1. I'm glad you noticed the one. What does that denote, Josh?
That denotes a
tie, Josh, a tie.
An overtime loss if we're in hockey.
And by the way, there is these sorts of record disputes / inaccuracies all across college.
There's a Nebraska-Iowa one, right?
There's a Nebraska-Creighton one, I believe.
Is that what I'm thinking of?
Maybe.
I'm sorry.
There's a Nebraska-Creighton basketball sort of because they.
If it's the 24th or the 25th time they've played or something
one
like that.
side includes like 3 or 4 more games
Yeah.
on their ledger on their side. But anyway, this has been pinpointed back to a date. November 15th, 1977.
Okay.
All right. The match in question was November 15th, 1977. And all sorts of people, this is a great story and good research done by Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com. And he tracked down a bunch of people just to get their accounts of, did this happen? What was it like? How did we get a tie? How did we end up in this situation? And so there's a bunch of different accounts of this, and so we don't know the exact answer. But here's a couple of the takeaways. He spoke with Terry Pettit, the
Facebook poster?
Yes, the Terry Pettit Facebook poster. So the problem, I'll read you this. The problem is that Nebraska was not in Lawrence on that day. In its first year under legendary coach Terry Pettit, the volleyball team was in fact in Los Angeles for the National Women's Invitational Tournament, as the archives of the Sunday Journal and the Star, now the Journal Star together, can attest. It did split a match that day. It was not against Kansas. Obviously, it was in Los Angeles. KU and Nebraska didn't tie either on the date that recorded on the KU's website. That's 1977 volleyball schedule, November 12th. Granted, both teams were, in fact, in Lincoln that day for the Nebraska Invitational Tournament. June James, a two-time all-conference player for the Jayhawks, remembered that event in particular. Quote, I remember being in a tournament in Lincoln because some of us got in the football game for a hot second to see the fans, she wrote in an email. Indeed, Kansas and Nebraska did face off in football in Lincoln on that same day. Quote, honestly, that's all I can remember. Among the numerous results that weekend, there was no Nebraska-Kansas tie. KU won against Iowa State, and Nebraska's JV team tied Iowa, Omaha, and the same junior varsity team again, and lost to Minnesota. They played 7 matches in a day. It's club volleyball, basically. Okay. It's in this very early stages, and all these things happen on the same day. Another account is contended that the tie occurred not in the fall of 77, but as part of the Big 8 tournament in Lawrence a full year later in 1978. And then this person went on to talk about Nebraska's investment in women's sports and how they were sort of the standard in volleyball, even back in its early days in the late 70s. And I think we get to the final sort of result of this here. They went down and approached Nebraska Athletics and the World Herald to see what their accounts of this situation was. It says, after the conversation with Pettit, the journal World approached Nebraska Athletics for any sort of perspective on that tie that might never have been. A spokesperson for the Nebraska volleyball team, I assume this is Nate Pullen from the Nebraska Athletic Department, echoed some of Pettit's remarks about the perils of record keeping in the early days in college volleyball. He wrote in an email that Nebraska did not even include a tie with KU in its records to begin with until the 2011 edition of its media guide. And now it may not do so any longer. Nate Pullen, there he is, wrote, I'm thinking this tie result may be wiped from our media guide if neither side has any evidence of it being a varsity competition. If I had to come to a grand conclusion, I would guess that Kansas tied Nebraska's JV team on November 5th, 1977 in the Jayhawk Invitational. And our SID probably saw it in the Kansas media guide and put it into our media guide with the wrong date.
Whoa.
And so Kansas's one shining moment in volleyball, their tie with Nebraska in either 1978 or 1977, actually did not happen. But they will get a chance to avenge all of it tonight in Lincoln. It'll definitely go well for them.
Boy, if this was the one that broke the streak, that'd be very impressive.
What is up with? We have documented Kansas's current streak of getting smashed over the head by Creighton athletics, and Nebraska just gets to continue that tonight. I mean, over the last calendar
Jayhawks?
Over the last calendar year, Creighton has beaten Kansas in just about everything. Baseball in a regional game, volleyball 3 times over the last year, plus now going back to the beginning of last season. Of course, the win over the number 1 Kansas Jayhawks basketball team.
I remember
last year. I remember that. Remember Pop Isaacs?
I do, actually.
That was his last game. And then now we have Nebraska getting their hack at Kansas tonight. Luckily, Kansas didn't play Creighton in the Players Era Festival because Creighton would have definitely won that, right?
Kansas wasn't invited.
No, they were. They were there. Yeah, they were.
They must have been on the other side.
They were.
I'm sorry.
I saw Bill Self in the casino
That's
a
right.
lot.
That's right.
He was walking around with his family, for the record. He was always with his family. He was always with, I think it's his grandchild. He has a small grandchild.
Okay.
But he was always with his, I think it's his daughter and his grandchild. Like,
that's the blackjack table, honey.
Because I was in the casino like constantly the entire time, just looking out for people. Had a great conversation with former Husker assistant Matt Abdelmassi yet again. we keep wondering why we keep running into each other. And it's like 4 times a year I see Matt Abdelmassi in places now. This most recent time, it was the Starbucks in Park MGM in Vegas with Rick Pitino. And so we last saw each other at the Big East tournament last year at Madison Square Garden. They're coming to Omaha in January. And, he always wonders about Nebraska basketball. He always wonders how Fred's doing.
Has he heard? Have you updated him?
He has
on
heard
how Fred's doing.
He has heard. He's like, Fred's got him rolling, huh?
Because it's going.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's going quite well.
Have you seen the bloody face?
I don't know if Coach Abdelmassi has seen the bloody face.
Should we send him the bloody face?
We could do that.
I know you're always wondering. Here's an update.
I know you're always wondering. Here's an update. One more thing before we take a break here. This is the ever famous Army-Navy game weekend.
That's right.
All right. This
Shout
game,
out to the troops.
And this game is in Baltimore, yes?
That's right.
This will be at the home of the Ravens. We have tin can crab nachos, $30, inside of a Navy battleship, which is kettle chips paired with Maryland crab dip, sweet corn pico de gallo, creamy queso blanco, and Old Bay topped lumped crab and Fresno chiles. And it comes in a battleship.
Now
are you interested?
You're a connoisseur of crab.
I love crab.
I don't love the price point, but I guess I get it. Yeah, I'm interested. That was the question you asked. Yeah, I'm interested.
What would you be more interested if I showed you a picture of what it is? Would you like to see a picture?
I would love to see a picture. Do you have that?
I do.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here it is.
Look at that paper boat.
That's what drew your attention?
Yeah.
It's not the delicious lump crab.
I mean, I'll get to that. That's a lot of food.
It is. It costs $30.
Yeah, okay. I'm more in on this now that I have seen a picture.
I would rather have that for $30 than the giant long hot dog that you have to hold on your lap the entire time.
Yes.
This one you could actually pick at.
What is this? What is this towel behind it? Is that a piece of parchment paper? Or is it a towel?
I actually think.
Do I get the towel?
I don't think you get the towel.
Okay.
I think you just get the boat.
That's a nice towel, though.
It is a nice towel. Maybe everybody gets a towel. I'm not sure.
Are those fries or
chips?
Chips.
It's on
like
chips.
Homemade chips,
like kettle chips. Yeah. Inside of a battleship, Josh. Once again, inside of a battleship.
And if you don't think I'm going to empty that nacho boat and then attack you with the battleship and make the battleship sounds,
you've got another thing coming.
That's right. Beep, beep,
Exactly.
beep.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll take a further look at the weekend. We have Creighton basketball tomorrow against Kansas State. Speaking of, why don't we give away our last pair of tickets?
Yeah, we should do that.
2:00 tomorrow, K-State and Creighton in downtown Omaha. And I would like you to be there. On me.
Wow.
Kind of.
Money bags Happer.
You can come watch Jay's live tomorrow. Wear your powder blue. 402-951-1620.
Who are we talking to on Jay's Live tomorrow?
We are talking volleyball tomorrow on Jay's Live. We're not talking to anybody in particular.
Is Bryan zooming in?
I don't think
for
so.
Jay's Live?
I don't think we're going to do that.
Okay.
Because they have a game like 2 hours after Jay's Live. Yeah. Anyway, caller number 3, 402-951-1620. We're going to get you 2 tickets to tomorrow's Creighton-Kansas State game at the CHI Health Center. That's right, John. Thank you. Caller number 3 at 402-951-1620 right now. And we'll get you hooked up. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Josh, would it be too much to ask for me to play a video on this here video stream?
No, it wouldn't be.
How much time do you need?
No, I'm good.
You're good. All right, well then we can just play the video. So, college basketball man of college basketball, John Rothstein. He says many, many things. Actually, he only says a couple things.
We sleep in April.
To be completely honest with you. We sleep in May.
May,
Sleep in May. Basketball is still happening.
The calendar
in
has
April.
changed.
He loves college basketball, and he has become acutely aware that Nebraska is good at basketball. And he is aiming to stir up the crowd, the Nebraska basketball fans, even further, because there's more on the line when you win an NCAA tournament game than just winning an NCAA tournament game and erasing, 100 years of history. There's getting John Rothstein to come to town. Here he is yesterday on his podcast talking about what he might do when that happens.
In the game last night, and I'm watching the cutting, and I'm watching the open space that Nebraska plays with in the half court, with Rink Mast obviously operating as a face-up five, and I'm watching the way this team is sharing the ball and shooting the ball and being a team that, again, is embodying everything about balance, but also bringing the defensive side of the floor as well. And I'm thinking what it's going to be like this winter at Pinnacle Bank Arena. And I'm going to go on the record right now. If Nebraska makes the NCAA tournament in 2026 and wins an NCAA tournament game for the first time in school history, I, at some point before the start of the 26-27 season, am going to fly to Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm going to go downtown. I'm going to put my credit card down at a bar for an hour, and I am going to throw a happy hour for Nebraska basketball fans, because that's what's at stake right now. There is a window for this team, not just to get to the NCAA tournament, but to win a game. Tim Miles got to the NCAA tournament, never won a game. Danny Nee did a great job at Nebraska, never won a game as Nebraska's head coach. Nebraska has never won a game in the NCAA tournament.
People forget.
And if they do, I will be buying the Peroni in Lincoln, and you better believe I'm going to be there, looking forward to schmoozing with everybody and celebrating what is an underrated fan base in college basketball, because the program, again, has never advanced in March Madness. We will see if that changes in 2026, because you know as well as I do, this is only in December.
He can't help himself. I thought he glitched for a second. He's a robot when he thought about where Danny Nee coached. What am I talking about again? Oh, Nebraska, as the Northeasterners say.
That's what's at stake.
That's what's at stake here. Not me flying to Lincoln in June. I would never. Could you imagine? I would never ever do that.
All right.
Are you interested in the John Rothstein? I mean, that's what's at stake here. The John Rothstein get together.
I'm very interested, Connor.
He cannot. I am very uninterested, for the record.
What? Rothstein buying Peronis?
I don't want to hang out with Rothstein. Are you kidding me?
You're not going to hang out with him, but you'll drink it. You'll drink his beers.
I'll drink free beers, and I do love Peronis. I just wondered if Peronis exist in Lincoln.
An hour, a whole hour.
Free beers for an hour sounds awesome. Yeah. Free anything for an hour sounds awesome.
12 Peronis, please.
Yeah, I don't know how much Peronis they have. But seriously, they don't have that many Peronis in Lincoln. I don't think that.
Is there Peroni in that beer fridge?
There could be. Once upon a time,
I don't see
your
one.
boy bought a bunch of Peronis.
That's
and
right.
brought them
They were
here.
in.
I do love a Peroni. I'm going to a place tonight where there's Peroni on tap.
Whoa.
Yep. So I love Peroni.
You tell me that during the break.
I just don't think that they've made their way to Lincoln yet. It just feels like a little too high society beer for Lincoln. High class beer.
Do they know about high class beer in Lincoln?
No.
That's sad.
No,
it's a college town, so they're okay with swill.
No, they know about Busch Light.
Ugh.
They know about Coors Light.
I guess if we got to drink something.
Yeah, Baymont says I love pierogies.
I was told there'd be pierogies.
John Rossi is going to come to town and buy us all pierogies. That sounds awesome. I don't know why, but that's cool. I'll take my pierogies, please. I just find the Rothstein thing so funny. He can't not talk in his weird catchphrases. He even said, what's his thing for Pinnacle Bank Arena? He says Pinnacle Bank Arena underrated.
He did say the fan base was underrated.
Fan base is underrated. Mm-hmm. And then he has also kept saying about Nebraska, as he would say.
Yeah, that accent was weird, man.
Nebraska, they might be a bubble team this year. He kept saying that up until like 2 weeks ago. They are in great position to be a bubble team this year. And I think he figured it out. I think he figured out that they might not be a bubble team. They're definitely not a bubble team right now.
What is Rothstein's take on winning a play-in game?
Oh, great question.
Now, right now, we don't have to worry about
Great
that.
question. If Nebraska wins an NCAA tournament game in the play-in round, did they win an NCAA tournament game? John, your thoughts? I'm sure he'd be happy to come on the show. I'm sure he'll be making his way out to Omaha at some point this year to talk about college basketball and things like that. Mike writes in on YouTube. He says, Connor Happer hosted a podcast about craft beer in Lincoln. Yeah, if you guys couldn't tell, I'm going all the way in on Lincoln is garbage town these days.
I like that stance.
Thank you.
The basketball team is a lot of fun to watch.
The basketball team's awesome.
And I'm glad they're having success.
And I love Pinnacle Bank Arena, but
the town sucks.
Just don't even go 4 blocks away from that place. Mm-hmm. Flaky Jake writes in.
Hi, Flaky Jake.
Happy hour. That's what's at stake right now. Mustache Adam writes, poll question, does anyone in Lincoln drink Peroni?
We have a poll question up.
About Peroni?
About Peronis and Lincoln. Let me get the wording right. Does Lincoln have Peronis? Vote at Happer Show. It's important.
Curious to see the results. Let's take a phone call. Here's Nebrasketball Mike on the hotline. Hi, Mike.
Josh, Connor, let me educate you a little bit.
Okay. Do you have Peronis?
My dad was in wholesale wine and liquor sales for 30 years. He carried Peroni. I guarantee.
In Lincoln or in Omaha?
Has Peronis. I don't care. He carried Nebraska. The whole state.
The whole state. Even Lincoln.
It's in Lincoln somewhere.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna have to go find him and buy him out for Rothstein's Peroni party.
If you start calling bars and asking the right questions, there are bars that have it.
Okay. I hope so, because they're going to need it. I don't know. They're going to have to find a bar downtown when Nebraska wins their NCAA tournament game. Will you be going to the Rothstein Peroni party?
Rothstein, you have no idea how long fans have waited for this thing to end, and the fact that a basketball personality would have the courage and the thank you to even come here when there is no program, and there hasn't been a program until now, is amazing. So I pray that it happens, because there are thousands of us that deserve it.
There are dozens of us. Dozens. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye.
Do you think there is a bar in Lincoln right now that is calling their distributor and saying, get me Peronis, in the hopes that Rothstein will call someone and say, okay, what bar in Lincoln has Peronis?
Oh, you mean like they are hoarding the Peronis?
Like, well, yeah.
They have to be the Peroni wholesaler?
Yeah. Like, hey, if you want Peroni, you come to this bar.
It's a great idea. It could be a great business venture. Mm-hmm. Maybe the University of Nebraska is like NIL, the Huskers Athletic Fund should buy all of them. And then Rothstein could just donate all of his open bar tab proceeds to the Huskers Athletic Fund.
Great idea.
And then you're helping out NIL, and then maybe Fred can get another bouquet.
There's gotta be a bar in town that's like, look, we'll buy 500,000 Peronis right now. And
500,000 Peronis. Tommy just sold 500,000 Peronis.
In the hopes that Rothstein has the party there and they get the pub and the ad and their face all over the news. Like, someone's got to do this. It could be your bar if you're listening right now.
Albino Tornado writes in.
Hi, Albino Tornado. This is a good tweet, by the way.
Buying people Peronis isn't a friendly offer. It's a threat. Italian beer is a crime. Hard disagree.
Yeah, bad take.
Hard disagree.
Good tweet, bad take.
Yeah, I appreciate that the take is out there. All right, we'll take a break. We get the polls. We'll tell you what to watch after this on 1620 The Zone. But first, football season is in full swing. And however you like to get in on the action, you can do it on Underdog right now. in Nebraska this season. You can make team picks and player picks. Just download the app, sign up, and you'll get $75 in bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. Using Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite team will win, or if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Plus, with Underdog's ultra-fast payouts, you can get your profits in a snap. So download the app today. Use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $75 in bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. Player picks, team picks, all on Underdog. Crypto.com predictions powered by Underdog Predict. Trading derivatives involve risk. It may not be appropriate for all. For more information, visit nadex.com/rules and underdogfantasy.com/rules. And for Crypto.com predictions, the term pick refers to a product traded on CDNA. It must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing. Get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
The Connor Happer Show.
Who's pitching tonight?
You Darvish, having a great year.
The Connor Happer Show.
I know about that guy.
On 1620, The Zone.
What a mess.
The 1620 The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. At Equitable, we take banking personally and answer the phone on the first ring. Email me, John Bishop, anytime. John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank Zone inbox from 1620 The Zone.
To the polls, that Happer Show on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. One from yesterday. Did you grow into blue cheese? Or as some people say, blue cheese.
That was really weird.
Did you grow into blue cheese? I haven't yet, so no. That's my answer. 58% say no.
I don't care for it.
Does Lincoln have Peronis? Big response here. I'm going to say no. By the way, somebody texted in about my trash talk to Lincoln. Hey, I've lived here for 29 years. It's a fine town. Just tough to drive around in. You just stay up there, bird boy. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. No, Lincoln doesn't have Peroni. 62% agree. Would you go to Snoop World? No.
I don't think I would, but I'd be okay with it existing. Like, not everything's for me.
67% say no. And finally, does Josh Johnson seem like the kind of guy who would wear a shirt with a swear word on it?
Absolutely not.
56% say yes.
Whoa. Erroneous.
It's pretty split. It's close. Those are the polls. Josh, what are we watching tonight?
We are watching the National Football League this weekend. Chargers Chiefs, noon Sunday here locally on CBS. At that same time on Big Fox, you can watch Browns Bears. Fox's 3 p.m. offering is Lions Rams. Meanwhile, you get Packers Broncos on CBS at 3 o'clock Sunday. Sunday Night Football, Vikings Cowboys from Jura World. College football this weekend, the Army-Navy game, 2 o'clock on Saturday. You can watch it on CBS. You can listen to it on Santa Baby 1180, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And the L.A. Bowl is tomorrow. Bowl season, Connor.
The very last L.A. Bowl.
That's correct. Boise State and Washington, 7 o'clock tomorrow night on ABC. College basketball, Texas and UConn tonight at 7 o'clock on Big Fox. 11 a.m. tomorrow on ESPN. It's number 17 Arkansas, number 16 Texas Tech. Number 1 Arizona travels to number 12 Alabama. 8:30 tomorrow night on ESPN. Followed by UCLA Gonzaga at 10:30.
Oh no, Mick Cronin.
Mick Cronin's dad has to take 2 naps. Number 23, Nebraska. Number 13, Illinois. 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on Peacock.
Let's go.
Because, of course. And Kansas State takes on Creighton tomorrow, 2 o'clock on Big Fox. Coverage begins right here on 1620 The Zone at 1 o'clock. John Bishop takes you inside the arena for pregame at 1:30.
Is it really on Big Fox?
It is.
I did not know.
I didn't either. A little surprising.
Who is broadcasting?
Ooh, good question.
Let's see. Brandon Gaudin and Donnie Marshall.
Brandon Gaudin, my guy, Braves play-by-play voice.
That's your guy. Voice of Madden a few years ago.
Whoa. I did not know this.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, UConn, the women, take on number 16, USC, 4:30 tomorrow on Big Fox, so right after Creighton. And then noon Sunday on ABC. Number 13, Baylor. Number 2, Texas. Tomorrow you have the NBA Cup semifinals on Amazon Prime. Knicks Magic at 4:30, followed by Spurs Thunder at 8. Volleyball, the Austin Regional. Texas advanced to the regional final there earlier today. Stanford up Wisconsin up 1-0 on Stanford, excuse me. Going on right now on ESPN. The Lincoln Regional with Elite 8 games on Sunday. A&M and Louisville tonight at 6 on ESPN2, followed by Kansas and Nebraska. I'll throw it on the board. There will not be a tie tonight.
I think that's
between
right.
Kansas and Nebraska.
I believe that's right.
Creighton in the Elite 8 tomorrow against Kentucky, 4 o'clock on ESPN2. Jays. Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, the end of an era, debuts on Disney Plus today, releasing over 3 consecutive Fridays. The 6-part docuseries, that's a lot, offers an intimate look at Taylor's life as her tour made headlines and thrilled fans around the world. The final show of that tour is also on Disney Plus right now. Knives Out 3 is on Netflix. It's called Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. And finally, Connor, this right up your alley, 7 o'clock tomorrow night on Peacock.
What do we got?
Saturday night's main event, emanating from our nation's capital. John Cena will wrestle Gunther, marking his final appearance in a wrestling ring after 23 years and over 2,300 matches.
Not up my alley. That
Not
was
up your alley?
sarcastic. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
Enjoy your week in Amarillo.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's my weekend now.
Yep, goodbye.
I'll see you guys in a week.
That is the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The crossover is next.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.